Oh, beloved Ragnarok, what pristine beauty it holds. However, something's off. Insanely powerful dinos have appeared that can burn this ARK to the ground, and it's up to yours truly to put them in their place.
No! My PC! Holy hell, look at it!
That's right, I'll be spending 100 days in ARK Primal Chaos, scaling its tiers to the tippy top in order to face the all-powerful Death Knight. So say it with me now, let the show begin! Day 1, I spawned in on the tranquil beaches near the blue obelisk. Thing is though, I'm not on vacation, and there's toxic dodos around. So I had to book it towards some rocks for safety, cause everything in this mod is out to get ya. I gathered basic resources such as fiber, thatch, wood and stones, and crafted my first stone pick, using it to crack open some supply crates that washed up along the beach. I love spawning on Ragnarok, you just get such good starting gear from here. With these new tools and weapons, I started to duke it out with a carbon emis, and sure, they are tanky, but they compare not to the other beasts that we will encounter in this adventure. And after taking a few nips from this giant turtle, I stood victorious, and my prize was some meat, keratin, and hide. I then used my new hatchet to deforest the area, and used these materials to power level by crafting many storage boxes, which got me to hit level 16, and this unlocked the ability to craft a raft. Thankfully, that turtle gave us enough hide to get this job done too, and I'll be using this to stay safe early on. I am well aware that any dino on this map can one-tap me if I let them. But I didn't leave it just as is, I made a whole wooden box on top of this thing, and you might be wondering why I would create such a flotation device. Well, you see, I found some female dodos here on the coast, just vanilla ones, and all I know at this point is that I need all sorts of eggs to craft different types of kibble per the tiers of this mod. So with Henrietta tamed as the pillar of all of our future progress, I brought her on over into my mobile wooden box so no other aggressive monsters can see her. I don't have dino balls to keep them safe yet. The next morning, I had worked up quite an appetite, so I made a campfire to cook some food, and while that was going, I gently persuaded another female dodo to become Henrietta's friend, and once Henna here was tamed, I saw that she already laid an egg for me, just what I was after. Before departing on a grand voyage that I had in mind, I quickly got a few more supplies as the sun was about to rise, and used them to craft a bed, a storage box, and some standing torches to deck out this raft with our basic needs. Yet I felt there was something still missing on our floating hut. I wished to put a forge on top of it, so I whipped up some arrows and began to hunt for some more hide, and in doing so, I dared fling some arrows at a toxic dodo. Thankfully, this tier is still somewhat manageable with my current setup, but here you can see that all dinos drop blood and hide of their respective types. I gotta stay on my toes all the time though, as I could see an electric Dodo Rex nearby, so we gotta go. I quickly gathered up a couple of more natural resources, even some metal ore, and once I got back to the raft, I was able to place down a chaos forge, within which I smelted my first batch of metal ingots. This batch allowed me to craft the primal smithy, where I wanted to craft a metal pickaxe, but I only can make modded ones in this, so I had to start with the toxic one, but in order to do this, I need toxic ingots, which means I need more toxic blood. So I had no choice but to set out and get some from some weak prey, but until I have an awesome spyglass, I won't know how much health any opponent has. So it's purely a guessing game right now that if I fight something, if I'm gonna make it out alive. With everything still sort of going well, the toxic ingots were slowly rolling in. And the fact is, however, that there are no more ore veins in the area. So, with no other choice, I whipped up a basic cloth set, along with my signature mask and chibi, and dubbed our vessel, the SS Dingaling, and took it out for its maiden voyage. Our first pit stop would be at the stony shores all the way at the north, as this place is abundant with metal. Along this journey though, I spotted some glowing blue turtles, red odd pegos, and anime women. Looks like I sailed straight in today's sponsor, Dragon Traveler, a free-to-play idle RPG releasing on January 13th, where on day 1 you can easily claim 100 summons to get straight into the fun. Over time though, 30,000 diamonds and 1,000 summons to try and catch them all. You, the protagonist, can literally turn into a dragon, aiding directly in combat where you choose your team's formation, which you can automate, by the way. You can battle your way through dungeons, progressing deeper and deeper, face off against powerful bosses of all shapes and sizes, plus there's an in-depth affinity system where you bond with characters while pretending you're just here for the strategy. The gameplay is built around collecting materials to develop your characters to progress to more difficult content, which is very casual. And yes, you are able to earn all resources through gameplay. There's even limited banners which drop 100% guaranteed rate up characters. And did I mention there's PvP as well? Plus, you can join guilds to beat bosses with your friends. Share the fun and the glory. So pre-register or download the game right now using the link in the description. Future you will thank you when the summons rain from the heavens. And a big thank you to Dragon Traveler for sponsoring this video. It was the morning of day 3 that I reached the stony cliffs, ready to plunder it of all its metal, when a huge, what I can only assume is a nightmare Reaper Queen, appeared out of thin air. I have a hunch that it has hundreds of millions of health, so I took a detour around this mamacita. I haven't died yet, and I don't intend to do so anytime soon, as much as that is out of my control. With her out of render distance, I got to work on the metal deposits and was on the prowl for a few more toxic drops. Either way, with this work out of the way, presto, the toxic pickaxe was crafted, and for reference, the higher the tier of the tool, the more resources it gathers, so my metal gathering was through the freaking roof. I even got to craft a toxic hatchet during this time. Here's when rain started to pour on down, and I had my fill of metal already, so I was on to our second destination, that being the grasslands of the east. As I'm sailing, a few things to note. Along the way, I slayed a few toxic creatures that I found and collected keratin, spoiled meat, and hide from many washed up dead basilosaur carcasses that I came across. So we stocked up on good materials, but all this had me arriving at the grasslands first by midnight. So by the next morning, I followed a river up the plains, cautious not to get any unwanted attention. And I'm happy to report that I made it to this lake safely, and behind its waterfall is a cave. This place is going to be perfect as my ideal home, as it's safe from explosions, has ample space, and is filled with tons of metal and crystal. Speaking of which, that inspired me to make an awesome spyglass. Finally, this is going to allow me to see every dinosaur's full stats, and with that, method of taming. I did have to make this regular smithy, as only from here I can make a behemoth gate, for which I started to collect resources, and thanks to my toxic tools, it was much easier to get all of these collected, yet it did take me all day to seal off my new humble abode. And with that, welcome to Casa de Cuervo. Day 5 was very straightforward, but also very tedious, as I had to transfer all of my belongings, which is surprisingly quite a bit, from the SS Dingaling to my cave. So this was a very intensive cardio session. I was then just cleaning out this area of all its resources going into day 6, and at about noon, I already started to realize I would definitely benefit if I'd have a flyer. So I made a set of bolas, a mortar and pestle, in which I was able to craft narcotics, and with that got my first set of trank arrows, which I took out with me on a hunt for a regular old pteranodon. But during this outing, I found a pack of ovissices, which meant I already got my hands on some mutton for an easy tame. Thing is though, this place ain't all sunshine and rainbows, as I spotted a demonic Equus roaming about, and these things can one-tap me 50 billion times over within a nanosecond. So I cautiously continued my expedition until I found a baby max level Pteranodon, so its parent must be nearby, if it isn't dead. And indeed, I did find the parent shortly after. I discovered its mother just roaming about on the floor, with gorgeous colors too. So under a rising moon and with a thunderstorm rolling in, I got it to sleep, and that mutton sure came in handy. So logically, the next morning I just had to dub it McQueen, and you bet that its child was coming along for the ride. That is, if it knows how to crawl all the way back to my base, as I did not bring Dinoballs with me. So if it survives its trek all the way back to Casa de Cuervo, it'll be at our doorstep at some point. Once I got back to our base though, I decided to get some resources for a saddle and gathered some carrots out in the wild while I was at it. And we did all this veggie picking throughout the entire day, and together with McQueen, we got to visit some beaver dams and ridded them of all of their silica pearls and cementing paste. Those materials, combined with my crystal, formed the perfect greenhouse at the nearby pond, which is crucial as I need all 4 veggie types growing ASAP. But I'm already slacking, it seems. I still gotta fill up my composting bin and get the remaining seeds. Cool thing is, for day 8, I was at least already able to make 1 batch of toxic kibble thanks to the carrots and eggs that I already owned. And surprisingly, to stay efficient, I was actually able to get that long grass seed that I was missing in no time flat and just planted all of the veggies into their plots. albeit without fertilizer at this point in time. So while it was growing, I was looking for some toxic dodos that I could snatch up. And as I tamed this prime example here is how the tiers sort of work. You got your vanilla dinos, then you get some toxics, that moves up to alpha. From there are elementals, varying from electric, volcanic, and hydro. One step up from that, you have shadow and fairy. Above that is another 3-part phase of mythic, fabled, and legendary. The tier on top of that is probably the most iconic, being angelic and demonics. And then there's also spirit and chaos, which I hope we can get to. These are the tiers that need kibble, to my understanding, that need items that drop or are produced by dinos of the tier under them. There are also origins that can evolve into nightmares, but that's a whole nother story that we'll get to down the line. But essentially, all these types on all these tiers, I need eggs from ASAP. Back to the toxic taming though, I had set my sights on a toxic oviraptor, but McQueen just took those tickles way too seriously. I really needed that, you little shit. Ain't not much to it though, we just gotta keep moving. Sadly, that depleted almost all of my trank arrows though, so I had to make a primal spear, a throwable and reusable item to deal torpor with from the mod set. So cautiously, I began to use this device against a toxic compy, but it died before it could even become my own. This is going to be rather difficult. Near some very destructive dinos, I swooped up a toxic dodo, then brought it to safety. And by safety, I mean the tip of my spear. And with that, I had 2 of these Dr. Seuss egg-laying poultries in my grasp. These will lay green eggs that Papa needs to progress to the alpha tier. And while I'm here, I might as well place down a chaos bed that has no cooldown, as well as a dino depot and digitizer to easily store all of my children. And with just some spark powder and gasoline, I was able to create and place a fabricator. Already, we are progressing incredibly nicely. Inside of it, I could already produce electronics thanks to the pearls I had already gotten from the beaver dams, which is just what I needed to provide power to the depot. So it is functional. It simply doesn't pick up eggs from the ground because I don't have an oviraptor inside it, but my chickens stored inside of it will still generate some eggs that I need, nicely stacked and organized. While I wait for more crops and eggs to generate, I set out for some alpha blood, preferably from some weak dodos. Not this thing. All these explosions are coming from that demonic dodo in the distance, and that noise. I just stuck to munching on some weaker ones throughout the entire morning, plus looted a pretty good blue supply drop. Back home with these supplies, I made a whole toxic hide set in hopes of staying alive for at least 2 seconds if I fight something. I've been doing so well, I'm asking myself the question, when is my first death going to be? I did get around to painting these shabby looking clothes and even went all the way to the volcano zone to mine a little bit of obsidian, which led me to making a pair of scissors, and with that I was able to dye my hair. So now I'm looking a little bit more stylish and like myself. I also noticed my toxic tools were about to break, so I made my first couple of alpha blood infused ingots, and with them my first set of an alpha pick and hatchet was born. I took these tools out on a spin on day 10 to collect absolute metric tons of supplies, which helped me make more structures, and with that created a very comfortable area for myself here. By now, we also had some toxic eggs at our disposal. Sadly, our crops, though, were lacking in quantity, so I decided it was best to just go out and tame a Phiomia to get its poop, and with that get some fertilizer going, because that takes a while. The problem with this plan, though, is with all the dangers roaming about, finding a living Phiomia would be like finding a needle in a haystack. A very chunky needle. Example 1, a Phiomia next to a trike with 168 million points of health. Yep, that ain't happening. So I searched until I found another adult, and I was going to try something risky. I very carefully selected a Phiomia and led it away from danger, only to slaughter it as it had a baby, which I snatched up and brought home. Don't worry, this trip includes in-flight therapy sessions. I dropped it off at base, but I couldn't find a way to claim it. It must have another parent out there somewhere, so I set out to bring an end to that nonsense. But the real question is if it still has a parent, then who did I just kill? Either way, I made sure to slay even modded Phiomias in the area until I deemed them eradicated, be it by my own hands or anything else in the vicinity. Sadly though, as I got back to my hidey hole, the little piggy was nowhere to be found. It must have vanished into thin air because it is gone. All that work for freaking nothing. With all that said and done though, I had no other choice but to find an adult out in the wild the next day. Who would have known that in this mod, of all mods, I would struggle to get a poop piggy. It was a very tricky process to complete actually, as I was always caught in the middle of violent dinosaur clashes. There was this one chonky swine that had caught my eye and I gave it a good amount of cardio, chasing it across the grasslands with my spear, but eventually I tired it out with only having some oxes on my tail, which is the least of my worries. Thankfully, even considering the chaos of this area, I was able to tame it fully and brought it back home immediately, and with it almost overflowing with stemberries now, I could easily get fertilizer going in my composting bin. And on that note, I just spent some time expanding my greenhouse as I need more veg. This meant that by the early next morning, I had expanded it significantly, so now our veggie production will be soaring in no time flat, and what had me so excited is we already have a little bit of citronelle to harvest, just enough to craft 3 pieces of alpha kibble. And I already knew what I was going to look for this tame. I was looking for an alpha tiered herbivore, as I could get its eggs as well as harvest narcoberries with it, as I'm short on both of those aspects at this time. And sure enough, nearby was a good looking trike with all my desired specifications. Or so I thought. Funny thing on top of this is that the reason that I wanted to tame this was my bottleneck, as I didn't have enough trank arrows to do this from a distance, so I had to poke it with my tranking spear. And the thing is, in the heat of the excitement, I relied too much on the colors of the dinos, and turns out this is just a regular trike. Whoopsie daisy. Regardless though, I did decide to tame it, as it still is fit as a berry gatherer, but considering I didn't want to stand here all day for it to tame, I went to craft a taming helper. It makes the creature hungrier, which means it eats more, ergo faster tames. So everyone, welcome Petunia. Once she was saddled at dusk, we harvested berries to our heart's content throughout the entire night. On day 13, I was able to make almost infinite amounts of narcotics, so I went out to tame some alpha dodos. That works. All I need is eggs now. I caught one quite quickly and continued my search into the redwoods, and it was noticeable that this area had plenty more spawns, making singling out a single specimen a bit dicey. I traveled pretty far in this process, even got to see giant bridges and ruined castles, and with that, a nightmare bear with over 300 million health and some grifficorns in the area as well. Y'all know that I'm going to do everything in my power to tame one of these prime specimens of such a marvelous beast, but we'll have to get to that later. Through fog-covered forests and across pristine rivers, I continued my search, but I was quickly reminded that death is lurking around every corner with this mod.
Oh, what was that? Oh, that was coming my direction too. What? Oh, that can't be good. What is that? I just barely dodged that. That's attacks from a spirit gerboa. Holy moly. Yep, I'm going back to the grasslands, thank you very much.
Admittedly though, my grasslands weren't any better with demonic dilos spawning and destroying the wildlife in the area. And given the fact that the volcano was exploding, I decided to look for some tames in that direction. That doesn't make much sense, but it seemed better than demonics. And well, here amongst rivers of lava and burned forests, I found nothing but creatures way beyond my current possibilities to obtain. But moving past it was a huge mountain, and along its cliffside, I spotted a low-level female alpha dimorphodon, which I attempted to knock out in hopes to get eggs from it. I was pleasantly surprised that when it started to waddle towards me, it didn't start to fly. It's kind of like with cockroaches. If they don't flap about, it's a little bit less scary. But sadly, as I knocked it out, a hyenodon came in and just had to eat it alive. Just my luck. I mean, seriously, it literally bit it to death and then dipped. So, incredibly frustrated, I took my long flight back home. And here I simply put my single dodo to pump out some eggs. At least it's something. Day 14 had me trying to make tons of potent narcotics to make some potent trank arrows. First though, I tested a regular trank arrow for science, which dealt a total of 157 points of torpor. Testing against this dodo dummy was enough to add it to our collection, and so I just searched for my next target, and I couldn't quite grasp how much it was, as my next target dropped super fast, but it was like far over 500 torpor with these new arrows. So after I returned home to deposit these new egg layers, I knew it would pay to stock on up on narcoberries like I had never before. So Petunia and I spent the rest of the day gathering narcoberries exclusively and dropping everything else. This grind was worth it, as kicking off day 15, we easily crafted 1,000 narcotics, largely due to the fact of the spoiled meat we found on the shore. We could do more, but that'll definitely do for now. And since I'm at base, I decided to whip up a new set of gear, a complete set of Alpha Chitin, which is tankier and more stylish. I then had a peek at what we needed to make elemental kibble, the next tier, and our current bottleneck seemed to be cooked prime meat. So I'll be looking for something like a stego to kill, for which this pike will surely come in handy, considering it deals up to 240 points of damage per poke. So I was flying about, trying to complete this task, and I did manage to slay this Carno with relative ease, but before I knew it, McQueen was pounced and quickly perished, and I was pursued by its attackers, which were several scorpions. I did get knocked out, but for some reason, they stopped coming for me, so I was able to get back up and dust off my pants, and any further attempt at getting prime meat proved to be pretty impossible thanks to these critters. Thankfully, I had just made it to safety of a rock before I was knocked out a second time at night, and it's very clear that I'm only alive thanks to this recent armor upgrade. Moving on to day 16, I didn't give up on my mission though, as I trekked through the bushes until I spotted a weak Argy. It's not much, but I'm officially 7 prime meat richer, and with it, I sprinted back to the safety of my cave and cooked up a plan. Quite literally, I cooked up the meat, and with that, made my first batch of elemental kibble. With my ample supply of narcotics that I already own, I managed to craft alpha narcotics for even stronger trank arrows. Now, armed with 2 elemental kibble, I set out to find an elemental flying dino, excited on what I would find. My boat ride took me around the nearby isles, and as I scaled this here slope, I spotted my target, an electric griffin, but there are many dangers around us, so I proceeded with the utmost level of caution. I fought my way up to it when I realized there were actually 2, which is a little bit more than I bargained for. I did see one window of opportunity where they were a little bit separated, yet to my utter shock, no pun intended, these arrows that I flung at it deal less than 1.2k torpor each, and it has a bar of over 60k. It tried frying me to death with its stunning attacks, breaking all of my armor in the process, but through some miracle, it de-aggroed mid-escape and returned to its partner, I suppose. So dehydrated, hurt, I reached the coast and just sat in the safety of the SS Dingaling, fighting for my survival, as I had to rush out to build a campfire real quick, and I had to kill some compies in the water to get some meat going as I was starving too. I may be beaten and bruised from all of this, but that adrenaline though is a little bit a lot for little old me. Proud and quite glad that I'm still alive, I continue to sail across the ocean later at night, desperately thinking on what I could possibly do. On day 17, I just hurried back to base with my figurative tail tucked between my legs because my current torpor output simply isn't going to cut it, especially considering specimens like this angelic Argy. I'm going to need to deal 500,000 to it. The first thing that I did back at base was produce tons of more alpha ingots in order to make an alpha flax set, which will surely keep my cheeks protected. I also came to the realization that it was time to ditch the crossbow and swap on over to a long neck. And with a second pestle and mortar, I began to crank out some gunpowder. One thing led to another later in the day until I eventually was able to make alpha tranquilizer darts using this stuff. I kicked off day 18 by making some alpha kibble as well as an alpha pteranodon saddle because no matter how you look at it, I need a flyer again. I found one and attempted to lure it away from some dangerous creatures, but it simply sat there and let itself be eaten by some allosauruses. I most definitely dodged a bullet by not taming that one. Either way, I had to set my sights on this level 95 specimen and knocked it out without a second thought. As I tamed it, its neck looked like it kinda snapped, and it's also colored like bones, so that's what we're gonna call it, bones. However, don't get it twisted, it's only gonna be a stepping stone for me as I zipped home to make some more alpha kibble. And with these, I went to look for another alpha pteranodon, which I could breed with bones to make sure that I always have flyers at the ready, future-proofing myself essentially. However, sometimes better opportunities just show up along your way, and in this case, it was in the form of a volcanic meguana with virtually no torpor for an elemental. I could have a breeding pair of flyers and my first elemental tame. While I was trying to sort things out for it, I did have to fight some bisons, which honestly put up much more of a fight than I was expecting, but they gave me the boost in prime meat that I was hoping for, which allowed me to make some more elemental kibble for the meguana. And this went so incredibly smoothly. One dart to the noggin sent it packing, and another one sent it to sleep. So, ta-da! It's tamed, admittedly with kind of doo-doo stats, but it doesn't matter anyways, as I can't make a saddle for it, as it needs volcanic material. So I just placed it safely in my terminal and kept searching for alpha pteranodons in the meantime. My searches led me over to the cove on day 19, where I did spot a male alpha pteranodon with decent stats, I guess, which will do for our purposes, and once I knocked it out, a raptor had to come in to damage it. So its taming effectiveness is utter crap, but at least we got it tamed. And after gathering some goodies from the beaver dams along the way, I made sure to stop by the volcano zone to harvest up some charcoal from burned trees. This will speed up ammo production in the future, I'm sure, so I might as well do it as I pass by. Logically, as soon as I got home, I set up my pteranodons to breed, and then noticed that the Meguana actually lays volcanic eggs, which is great. To make shadow and fairy kibble though, I'm still going to need some weird fruit, as well as some hydro and electric eggs. I then did some very minimal resource grinding, which resulted in crafting a fridge, and while I'm at it, I might as well gather a lot of flint to make this sweet, sweet gunpowder. Future me is gonna be so grateful. I was also glad that I got to make a primal grappling bow going into day 20, which is absolutely fantastic. It has infinite grapples. What more do you want? And later just added a perfect male pteranodon to our breeding circle and removed the original male as I was going to take it out on a hunt. And I hear you asking, Crow, what can you kill with this weak PT? Well, my lovelies, there exist elemental trilobites that are quite frail. And don't get me wrong, they do pack a punch, but when done correctly, it isn't that much of an issue. You kind of just keep pushing them back a little bit. Sadly, these apparently though don't drop any elemental blood, which is what I was after, so my plans have been foiled. But not to worry, I have even worse ideas in my mind. I plan to kill some hydro beavers, and just like any other mob in this mod, it's hard to find if not being piled on by everyone and their mother. During my search, I did come across a super weak hydro allosaurus, which was part of a pack. The same pack that killed that PT that we tried to tame recently. This one I actually don't want to kill and would rather just add it to my egg-laying arsenal. And considering our recent increase in gunpowder, making darts was no problem at all. So a dart got flung here, another one there, and bada bing bada boom, it was tamed. And what this means is we now have a tame to lay hydro eggs that are accumulating in our terminal as we speak. And feeling like I was on a roll, I made some more taming supplies and set out to find an easy electric egg layer to cover all bases. And as risky as it may be, I set my eyes on a low-level electric Dodo Rex. Don't worry, I'm also facepalming myself as I'm doing this voiceover, but that wasn't even the real problem. The thing is, it was no match for this fabled stego that it decided to tango with, and that got me thinking. Admittedly intrusive thoughts that I hesitantly acted out, which was to swoop in during that fight to get the elemental hide and blood from the deceased Dodo Rex. That is very risky, but that is also a massive boost to my progress. The next morning, across fields of death and despair, I searched for a new target, but had to stay on my tippy toes as a demonic parasaur almost blasted me straight in the face, but that did allow me to gather up some fairy hide from a Pegasus that was caught in the crossfire. I was basically a scavenger at this point, but against all logic and reason, I decided to fling some tranquilizer darts at a high-level electric RG in hopes to tame it, but of course, a legendary wyvern had to come into the mix and ruin it all for me. I had to pull some aerial maneuvers to desperately escape its clutches as it was relentless in its chase, but thankfully yours truly gets to live another day. So to change things up, I produced my first elemental ingots and narcotics to make its respective tier of darts. I then slapped an extra 3 elemental kibble into my inventory and returned to that RG. These darts pack about 10,000 torpor per shot, which is fantastic. Now having gained some confidence, I took a gamble and almost died to a volcanic Dodo Rex as I tried to separate it from the RG I wanted, but eventually all was good. I knocked it out at a considerable distance away from any dangers and successfully tamed it up. That's the strongest tame that we've gotten thus far, but that's not all. I went back for more of these amazing darts and then went to tame a male electric RG that I had spotted as well, and this one was thankfully much easier to tame as I corralled it away from predators before knocking it out. That's a second Thunderbird tamed in the same day, and you bet your sweet Bippy that I got these 2 lovebirds breeding immediately. Not only will we now forever have powerful flyers, but we also have elemental egg layers. The next morning, our first thunder nugget broke out of its shell, and it's basically all perfect stats except for weight, so we're off to a good start. So while we wait on some more breeds to happen, I was out being an absolute gremlin by chewing on carcasses to gather elemental blood and hide of any kind. And of course, I just had to throw some supply drops into the mix if they had some goodies inside. Hopefully, I can get a good long neck down the line for my darts. My current situation had me desperate for some electric drops, but I'm not gonna complain about any mythic drops. That right there is a steal and a freaking half. Late in the evening, I flew past the snowy peaks and tranked out a weak dire bear in order to kill it for its hide. And I had to make it snappy though, as the cold was draining my health incredibly rapidly, and I was about to land the final shot, but considering I only had a sliver of health left, I had to return to the warmth of the redwood forest to heal up. Once my life signs were a little bit more stable the next morning, I returned with the utmost haste, knocked out the bear, and killed it in peace to collect its blood and hide. But again, I only barely made it out with a smidge of health. I risked it all for those resources, but I'll be damned if I die to the cold in this mod for my first death. Now back in the safety of my den, I decided to turn my mythic blood into some ingots, just enough to make a metal hatchet and pick, skipping the elemental tools entirely. This will make all further resource hunts extensively more lucrative, as this is basically the best tier you can get. But never mind that, I was on a roll, so I just stocked up on some darts and went straight on out again, and Santa has seemingly come early, as from a ringed red drop, I got an industrial cooker and grinder, just what I always wanted. But for real, I was trying to level up in order to unlock to craft these things. The grinder is one thing to get extra resources from useless loot, but the cooker though, I can pump out so many med brews with this bad boy, and I need these for the potions that this mod provides. The craftable ones being toxic, alpha, and mythic. It goes higher, but they're special drops. Also, needless to say, I am swapping out my RGs with their offspring to get the perfect stats that I desire. We're almost there too. In case of our pteranodons though, we had an ideal specimen pop out of its shell, and I named it Kezu, as its color scheme reminds me of the fella in Monster Hunter. With potions to keep me and Kezu alive, we went in search of getting more electric hide, accompanied by raging thunderstorms. Together we faced off against a volcanic Allosaurus, and these potions do wonders for recovery. Kezu is such a beast that we actually face tanked most of the attacks towards the end, and my goodness gracious, my tools had my elemental stonks through the roof. I was feeling so good about myself actually, that I almost went to face an electric Dodo Rex, but we're not quite there yet, let's not get ahead of ourselves. However, mythic RGs were on the menu for Kezu. Yes indeedy, just look at that mythic blood. It even dropped mythic health potions for free. Isn't that nice? Cautiously, I then flew across the beach, seeing primal and origin dinos running amok. Dinos that seem unfeasible to slay now, but we'll get there. Maybe, possibly, eventually. Hopefully. Either way, much later in the day, I finally spotted a killable electric creature, a very low level griffin, and Kezu turned it into minced meat in no time flat with his spinny spin. And as I returned home with my loot, I had a devious idea. You see, we now have a perfect pair of RG breeders, and since the ones we currently have are without a job, I whistled them passive, unclaimed them, and slowly and painfully butchered them alive in front of their children. Not only does this make Kezu stronger, it gets me the electric materials that I've been hunting for. Cannibalism, it solves your problems.
Yeah, baby.
It's worth it. Trust me, I got more than enough for an RG saddle out of this. Plus, all this extra elemental blood had me making so many elemental ingots on day 25. I even had to do a regular metal run to keep up with production, but the effort was well worth it as I got to make a full volcanic flak armor set. We are definitely beefing up as there are some boss fights coming up real quick. I even had enough spare mythic blood to craft a mythic pike for self-defense, and after doing some minor tasks like tending to the crops, whipping up a massive amount of mythic narcotics, and with that, darts, I was excited to head to the next type of kibble, that being elemental. But I realized I'm going to need 3 new fruits to actually craft this stuff, and to get the seeds for said fruits, I'm going to have to kill a boss of each elemental type, that being electric, electric, hydro, and volcanic. What that boils down to is that I need to have a bossing bird, which I picked out and named Zapalicious. This Thunderbird will take me to great heights, I'm sure, and with everything at the ready, we went to test out our new damage potential for the first time. With 1000 damage per hit and healing capabilities, I have high hopes for this bad boy, but that doesn't mean we are immortal, as notably, volcanic dinos deal a lot more damage than electrics. Thankfully though, potions let you tank way more than these can dish out, so hopefully we're fine. You barely have to look at your health at that point while they're still active, with the healing lingering for a while and all, and after testing for a little while longer, as much as I don't want to admit it, this guy will be great for taking me places and keeping me alive, but likely this type of RG is not gonna cut it for boss battles. So I ended up making some more elemental kibble and then made the decision to tame up some volcanic dinos for a mini army. To be more specific though, I was looking for volcanic Dodo Rexes on day 26 with high health and melee stats. I only want the best after all, and I did spot a female with 32 points of HP. That one would be very nice for our squadron, so I let nature run its course until the island it was on was a tad emptier, as there were many threats on said little plot of land. Sadly, I was quite impatient in this process though and reverted to my scavenging ways. I just couldn't resist.
Ooh. Oopsie doopsie. Fire hurts. What can you do? What can you do?
Thankfully, Kezu was at the ready, and together we scurried to retrieve my items, but as soon as I got to loot them, a primal tech trike turned us into a shish kebab. Would this be our death spiral? Luckily, I have enough pteranodons at this point to spare for just such an event, and so on our second round to get my stuff, retrieval was a success. Proceeding with a great bit of caution, I did everything in my power to separate the Dodo Rex from the island, and it did work. I got him to the mainland, but of course, it just had to go and poke a max level fabled stego. All that work for literally less than nothing. All things considered though, I returned home as all of my armor had broken from that demonic flame, and then simply prepped up another Thunderbird with whom I set out into the darkness of the night in hopes of taming some high level elementals. This had me scouring the lava zone the next morning, but I was presented with a very big surprise, a max level volcanic Meiguana. So I perched myself on a nearby cliff, took aim, and got it to slumber from a safe distance. In this process, it did end up aggroing an electric Dodo Rex, so I had to intervene so it could escape its clutches. But either way, with great precise timing, I was able to seal this deal. I didn't even look at its stats upon taming it. That's how fast I tucked my tail and got out of this area. Back at Mikasa, I got it to breed with the other one we have, and we're looking for a whopping 49 stamina, 43 weight, and 33 health for the ideal stats of their children. And while they snuggle up to each other, I decided to go get another Hydro Allosaurus so I can lock in these elementals properly. And there was this super weak male in the lake that I swiftly popped into my pocket. So that project is done and dusted. I then got a little bit of a boost in confidence as I spotted the low-level legendary raptor, and considering everything I've been through, I pecked it to death from the sky. There were no significant drops from its corpse, but that is my first bit of legendary blood and hide, so that's a plus. Considering that the plan was so successful though, I slew an already weakened fairy Doedicarus. Strangely though, it only drops fairy hide and alpha blood. I wonder why. Returning to my cave on day 28, I was starting to feel cramped in here, considering all the breeding that we're doing, so I opened up the section in the back just for that. By now, there was at least one new Meiguana to add to the mix, and baby aloes were rolling on in, which means infinite hide of that type. On that note, because I have some spare Meiguanas, I can chop them up for volcanic hide, which led to crafting my first Meiguana saddle. I was anxiously awaiting for the perfect specimen to slap this onto, so I kept myself busy producing a bit of fur gear, but more importantly, a full set of Mythic flak armor, which boasts an insane amount of defense. And as I was putting it on, I noticed how many buffs I was getting because each piece provides one, like crafting skill increase or being able to carry more weight. The next morning, I was just collecting some much-needed pelt from the nearby sheeps in the prairies and wrapped up all of the remaining fur pieces that I still needed. I didn't want to have a repeat situation of what happened last time in the snow. Thing is though, considering those fur boots that I made were ascended, it depleted all of my metal, so I spent a significant amount of time refilling the forge. And during this process, an adult Meguana was added to the snuggle pile to speed up the process of getting my perfect ride. Thankfully, a gorgeous egg was incubating as day 30 kicked in, and I waited on pins and needles for it to hatch. And once it did so, I dubbed this one Hot Rodney. And together, with wind under its flaps, we set out to level up. 1 for its survivability, and 2 for me to hit level 80 as I want to loot red desert drops. I'm just so glad though that we have a very insanely maneuverable travel mount. I mean, just look at this speed. This is gonna save us so much time considering how big this map is. During our leveling spree, I did end up killing a fabled Argentavis, and besides the basic loot, it gave us health and XP potions, which I chugged down myself. And considering our current objective, fabled creatures were now my favorite target, and so Rodney got to belly flop on many innocent fabled jerboas. Even little fabled creatures like this deal a lot of damage though, but our fire damage whittles them down quite nicely, and the potions keep my spirits and its health up. Note though that you don't get potions from every fabled kill it seems, so it's a bit of a grind. It's all good though, because no drops on the map can escape my grasp, because this dude just flies at max speeds. So zooming into day 31, I was keeping an eye open for some elemental bossing dinos as well, and I'm also hoping I can eventually get an angelic griffin like this one over here. It looks fantastic, or maybe even an angelic manticore would be insane. For now though, my travels had me reaching the canyons. This place is home to many large predators, like this Dodo Rex with 33 points of melee damage, and without a second thought, I began to pepper it with mythic darts, using the rocky terrain to my advantage. But one thing is for sure, I need a better long neck and more darts. I shot all of mine into it, and it was still well and kicking it, so I had to resort to using regular trank arrows for the final stretch, but surprisingly, that did the trick. I cautiously approached the body, hoping to not aggro anything in the vicinity, and actually claimed this beast, which came out with 45 melee. Not bad at all. Either way, on to the next. Zipping through these parts is somewhat dicey though. One wrong turn and you'll mesh into something like an origin or a demonic beast. That there didn't stop me though from looking for a high level female, but what am I doing? I'm out of darts anyways, so I'll return to base to restock. Oh. Oh, I almost died to that Demonic's fire. Holy, that was close. The sad part is, I'm all out of mythic blood to make good darts, so we had to grind that for a hot minute, but at least these also give XP potions just like the fabled, so that's nice. This is when I also spotted a nightmare wyvern. Its speed is unmatched. That wingspan is enormous, and I only got to see it for slight brief moments, and I was gonna stick around to find out what it would do when it sees me. Safe and sound back at home the next morning, the mythic narcotic and dart production was going swimmingly, and I had very specific intentions with my next outing. Step 1, kill mythics until I hit level 80. Check. That took me a little bit longer than expected, but I'm exactly where I want to be, which is the desert. Here I can finally loot red drops in search of an ascended long neck rifle whenever I get the opportunity, so I'll be popping these chests whenever I can. Then on day 33, I return to our more pressing task at hand, which is step 2, to find a mate for our bossing Dodo Rex, and under a crimson sunrise, I spotted a female with 31 health. I was doing my very best to peek cautiously over this drop-off when blasting them, but I guess I got what was coming for me. Burnt to not such a fine crisp, I suppose. Atop one of the Alpha Pteranodons, I made my way on back to my death bag and prayed to not lose Hot Rodney, and thankfully, it's still chillin' there, safe and sound. I also noted that my armor wasn't broken, as the fire had just burned straight through it. We continued to play our game of cat and mouse. Admittedly, I'm unaware of who the cat and who the mouse would be in this situation, but with enough patience, it all worked out. Excited with our new friend in our pocket, we sailed the skies, barely missing a nightmare dragon, but made it back home okay. Which meant we can now start breeding these two to make an army. I'm looking for 41 points of health and 45 in melee, so that's pretty good. Here's the thing though, the elements basically form a combat triangle, so with these volcanics we can bring the heat to the electric boss, but this means we still need powerful hydro and electric dinos. So I was chewing through what tames to get as I was getting flint and making gunpowder for the rest of the evening because I needed more darts. So by the next morning, one thing became clear to me, and that was that I would like to avoid human combustion, or any other form of death, if at all possible, thinking back on what happened with that volcanic Dodo Rex. And that's what hatched a plan. I snatched up my fur pieces and made my way on over to the snow, as I need to tame an electric griffin, because from it, I can shoot darts on its back while flying, keeping me safe at all times. There is a hefty amount of these on the mountaintops, but they're not alone. This is the most dangerous place I've seen thus far on the map. And this is also when I realized that I'd gotten way ahead of myself and had not brought any kibble with me. So I returned back to Casa de Cuervo, only to realize I didn't have any cooked prime meat. Perfect. So I had no choice but to make an industrial grill, which cooked the prime meat in no time flat. And with this new kibble in my pockets, I returned to the mountain peaks. Cautiously, I set my eyes on a female with 33 points of stamina, which is good, as I don't plan to fight with these. And boy, did we have a dance amongst the canyons here, and luckily, it can't keep up with the speed of Hot Rodney. The problem, though, arose once it started to run due to its rising torpidity. It was somewhat of a rodeo-style tame, sure, but it's not every day that you get to do it in the air in the middle of the Grand F***ing Canyon. The final stretch of this tame seemed impossible, as it was just floating in the air without a landing spot in sight, so needless to say, I was a little bit frustrated. I was doing this straight into the next morning. I was trying to lead it to land by setting it on fire, trying not to kill it, but it just kept doing donuts in the same spot at the center of this place. Patience isn't a virtue that I have, but stubbornness is something I am unmatched in. What wasn't making things easier, though, was the angelic manticore that was roaming this place, too. One wrong move and either I or my prey are toast in a second. I had been wasting so many darts in this attempt, it was very, very painful. I was starting to, however, channel my inner cowboy and slowly corralled it towards the land. I was in fact getting so good at it that I attracted some unwanted attention.
What? How? That's some bullshit!
So atop Zapalicious II, I went to retrieve my items while mourning the loss of Hot Rodney. You will be missed for all of eternity. Once there, cautiously, I identified the problem, the source of my death, and this problem has multiplied. What is going on? This is really, really, really bad. There's so much danger afoot. And amongst this absolute show, I saw a brief moment of opportunity where I hopped off and got my stuff back. Thankfully. Thing is though, my problems weren't over just yet, as the Nightmare Wyvern was just standing between me and my griffin, looking at it, ominously. So very, very delicately, I had to lead the griffin away from all that danger to continue my hunt, bringing it all the way on over to the other side to safety. Thing is though, it misinterpreted those instructions and flew all the way nearing the volcano biome. That's a overachiever if I've ever seen one. So first at night, I did actually end up plopping it down to the floor, nearly killing it, but the main thing is that we finally got it tamed. I was so done with this dude. Considering everything that happened though, you already know that day 36 started off with saddling up and naming a new Meiguana, Hot Rhonda. And I know we have Zapalicious and we are getting electric griffins, but I just can't go back. I have been spoiled by these things. Up next, I repaired my mythic armor, and I also can't forget to repair that long neck, nor to stock back up on those trank darts, because as soon as I was done, I set back out to tame a male electric griffin. I refuse to do this process more than needed, so getting a pair to breed will save my sanity, as well as save me on many therapy sessions. I had to search far and wide, as all the males that I came across were way too low level, so eventually later in the day, I spotted a level 145. It didn't have great stats, so I'll just be hoping for something good upon the tame roll, and thanks to the recent female that I got, I actually could already benefit from shooting from the sky, as I can just shoot my rifle on its back, which is an unmatched quality of life upgrade. I had this dude go nighty-night so fast that I couldn't help but feel some type of satisfaction once it hit the floor. It was even kind enough to fall asleep in a little bit of a clearing here. this was a very different experience from the first one. It's amazing that they're even the same species. Hot Rhonda got us back home in record time to get an electric griffin baby going ASAP. We're looking for 40 points of health, 37 in stamina, 39 in weight, and 39 for melee damage. And by now, an extra female Dodo Rex was already added to the snuggle pile, and as the sun began to set, I returned to the desert in hopes of popping some more crates for good loot. And it may not have been the long neck that I wanted, but I actually came across something better, an ascended sniper rifle at 225%. Christmas seems to have come in early for ya boy. So you can bet your booty cheeks I was brimming with excitement the next morning, as this weapon will allow me to shoot highly powerful trank bullets. I don't even have to craft this thing because, well, it's already made. I just need to level up to be able to create the bullets, and I knew just the flow of leveling up that I wanted to do. Up first, I did the usual, which was fight dinos for XP potions, which got me to the point that I could craft a chemistry bench back at base to speed up gunpowder production to a significant degree, but what I needed for it was to grind some materials, them being pearls. This meant that the entire beaver population was suddenly robbed of all of their prized possessions. During these rounds, I did try to be as efficient as I possibly could be by having the mortar and pestle pump out the powder until we got the chem bench running, but either way, I just kept up my thieving antics for the rest of the stormy night. I also tried my hand at plucking pearls in the bay the next morning, but considering a primal megalodon calls this its home, I didn't get many at all. It ain't worth risking the biscuit. So my next best bet was to get a good amount of pearls by just getting loot drops and grinding down loot for its resources. And as I was scourging for some drops, I actually found one of the elemental bosses, the volcanic one at that, which looks like a huge, flaming, mutated thorny dragon boasting 690,000 health. I honestly had predicted worse, but either way, I just proceeded with my plan and made a quick pit stop to gather resources from some mantis corpses, and you get the point. Any resources that I was short on, I was sure to get. I was also collecting loot drop after loot drop throughout the gorgeous night on this map. The peril-filled plunders dragged me straight into the next sunrise, and man, oh man, was it worth it, because that's a whole lot of junk items for our grinder. And with that done, I actually had enough to craft and place the chemistry bench at long last. And you know what that means? Gunpowder galore! So once I had more charcoal and flint in my inventory than I probably have ever had in the run, I watched in utter awe the amount that I could produce. So while that's whipping on up, I checked the griffins, and we have a perfect specimen ready to go, which I dubbed Thunder Chopper. This almost featherless abomination was ready for some action as we set out together for its leveling needs, and thanks to this strategy, I hit level 83, unlocking the tranquilizer bullet recipes just like I wanted. But yeah, since I was leveling, I just kept at it for a good while longer. There's no stopping us now, and I don't want this thing to die. All this boiled down to being able to craft on day 40 these mythic lead pills, and considering I'm making a lot of creatures go night-night in the near future, I dubbed my ascended fabricated sniper the Sandman. And of course, I just had to test out how much torpor this thing actually deals.
Alright, we have a perfect specimen right here. Mythic Bronto with 212,000 torpor. It shouldn't have any armor, so we should be seeing actual results. Last thing we had going for us was like 9,000 per bullet, so let's see. Oh, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. Okay, nice. Basically 30k per bullet. That is so good. That is more than double. I'm not complaining. Oh, we're about to tame so much.
Before going on my taming spree, though, I was able to replace my current female Dodo Rexes as one had hatched with the correct melee and health stats, so we're getting there. Not a perfect pair yet, but we're close. And after having geared up Thunder Chopper and Hot Rhonda, we now have speed and easy shooting for all of our outings. And on this topic, I still need to find some hydro and electric bossing dinos, and on the same island where I tested the Sandman, we found an electric Dodo Rex worth taming. I knocked it out with incredible ease, and even dared to shoot a demonic dodo to get him away from my knockout. Ever so cautiously, once the heat had died down in the area, quite literally, I made my move and added this baby to my arsenal, which resulted with 43 points of melee damage. And as I was looking for a male, I stumbled upon a demonic King Kong. What else is this mod going to throw at me? Moving on, near the volcanoes, during a thunderstorm, which is quite fitting, I found a companion for my electric Dodo Rex. Its stats aren't great at all, but maybe we'll roll high during the taming process because it's a high level. So drum roll, everybody, and it's kind of shit, but we'll make it work. The first thing I did was to get these thunder chickens to breed, obviously, and once again, we're looking for 43 melee points and 42 health. And luckily, our first egg actually had both of them. I'm just really hoping this breeding luck keeps on up because I'm getting pampered here. On day 41, the only element left for me to go bossing is Hydro, but there haven't been any good bossing tames at all thus far on the map, so I conjured up a plan. If there aren't any land Hydro tames available, they must be in the sea, so Rhonda and I checked the depths for any high-level Hydro megalodons. Trust the process, people. I have a plan, you see. And after checking out a few, I found an absolute unit of a shark. And with Rhonda, I lured it closer to the coast, and from there began to pepper it with tranks. And after some finagling around, it was claimed by yours truly, coming out with a whopping 49 health and 44 melee. The issue now would be to find a mate for this grand old fish. So I scouted throughout the entire rainy day. There was no trench too deep for me, as I was a man on a mission, a very devious one at that. This resulted in me conducting a full search of the northern oceans of Ragnarok until I found an at least semi-decent female, but simply luring it to the coast was a little bit of a doozy because I repeatedly injected it with tranquilizers while dodging a ton of aggro. But with enough persistence, basically at midnight, I got it in the bag with 49 points of melee. This is our best pair yet, holy moly. I then immediately got them to breed in our cave pond the next morning and read on over how to make guardian summoning scrolls next, and I can see I'm going to need a lot of hide and blood of different tiers. Up next, I just saddled up a powerful volcanic Dodo Rex and used it to eat a bunch of leftover hatchlings, and this thing is an absolute powerhouse right out the gate. It was even getting towards 10k damage per bite, not even including the fire that it spits. So, once I had enough of this bloodbath, I made one of each Guardian Scrolls. As for the first Megalodon baby though, it wasn't perfect, however, it had the proper health and melee, and that's all I care about, so we're making a great bit of progress. Either way, the next thing on my to-do list was to craft tons of elemental saddles for all of the boss fights to come. At least the Hydro Megalodons though, use regular shark saddles and not modded ones, so I can save myself a little bit of grinding of elemental hides. Day 43, though, had me crafting a Mythic sickle, and with it, I made sure to grind so much fiber that I would not need to get this resource ever again for the remainder of this playthrough. Trust me, this is more than enough to easily craft Megalodon saddles for a squadron of 20 and anything I'm going to need moving forward. I then just continued to get elemental hide throughout the day, and that had me progressing on elemental saddle craftings as I was just pumping them out. It may have taken me all day, but I managed to make enough saddles for all of my Dodo Rexes too, so I was quite proud. Day 44 had me starting off with touching up on the Dodo Rexes to get them to equal stats. In the electric department, the male even had a health mutation, which I was really happy about, and while I was waiting for some of the megs to breed, I preemptively expanded the greenhouse for the elemental fruits that I want to plant after beating the 3 elemental bosses. Once that was done, I shifted my focus to upgrading and cleaning up my base, as it was an absolute mess and a nightmare to just move around with all the 50 billion tails all over the place. To do that, I slaved away for the rest of the day to gather all the materials for this transformation and then scratched my head on how exactly I would do it. This meant with confidence, I went into day 45 with this building session. I managed to get a new pair of Megalodon set up too with perfect stats, and the male even had a melee mutation, which is great. Either way, I just continued to craft and place structures all across the base for the remainder of the day, and you betcha that the restructuring process continued into day 46. Once I'm done with this though, it'll all be perfectly situated, and there's not much more to say besides that, well, I was building. By the next morning, I was adding some final trimmings to liven up the place, but setting up the dino depot and breeding stations took me all the way into the afternoon, but it's finally finished! Oh my god! Everything is neatly tucked away, all perfect breed setups are done, absolute pristine perfection, and there's so much room for future dinos to breed. Words can simply not describe how relieved I was that we got this done and over with. For the remainder of the evening though, I was just simply crafting potions of each tier, as I intend to use them in rotation during the coming boss fights. And well, on day 48, I figured since I was still waiting for a few more Megalodons to be born, I would fly out and check supply crates for a saddle blueprint for them. I was just zipping around the map with Rhonda and was pleased to come across the Electric Guardian for the first time. It's a 4-legged robot with thunder and lightning, and not to mention, even at a low level, it has 500,000 points of health. I'm really hoping that my preparations are enough. And that thought got reinforced as I saw the wild volcanic boss. Apparently their health can go up to 1,000,000. Once I got home, I checked my loot, and aside from grindable weapons, saddles, and gear, I noticed I had gotten both an angelic and a demonic soul, likely from passing over battlefields where they had died. So there's that, I suppose. Now, there's no more time to dilly-dally. Once the sun was beginning to set, I grouped up 20 megalodons to level them up in order to defeat my first guardian, and I was clocking them in at about 100,000 health and anywhere from 600 to 700% melee. And since I was at it, I simply did the same process into day 49 with my volcanic and electric Dodo Rexes, ranging them from anywhere from 750% melee and about 200,000 health. And yes, this was a very tedious process. On the morning of day 50, I took my megalodons to the cavern under the lighthouse, and in this body of water, I popped out the squad, healed them as best as I could, and clenched my butt cheeks like never before to commence this battle.
All right, it is time. The army is here. I'm on the best one that I have, which I named Shredder. I got a few potions left. That actually took way more supplies than I thought, but we got some toxic potions, alpha potions, mythic potions. We should be set. And I'm expecting all of y'all to die in 0.2 seconds upon the boss spawning in. And I know what you're thinking. Crow, are you going to cheese this boss by spawning it in the water? Yes. So, without any further ado, well, here goes nothing, I guess. I did it. There's no going back now. The level is random as well from this boss, so... It's 95. Go get him, boys! Let's drink a potion just right off the rip, just to kind of stay like... Oh! What? What? No, this can't be. Wait. I stand corrected. The thing about all of my babies dying in 0.2 seconds, I meant that about the boss. Yeah, that's totally what I expected to happen. I might have gone a little bit overkill. Just a smidge, just by a very, very, very small smidge. This is not part of the plan. Man, I was getting ready for an epic battle. What? I'm confused. I didn't even get to see how much health it had. You know what? Good job, team. Good job, team. Also, what we got is some volcanic fruit, some volcanic seeds, a saddle for some reason. Oh, it's for the Guardian, right? Because we have a little tablet here with which we can summon our own tameable volcanic Guardian, which comes out at a random level. So I think y'all know what's happening next. I want to put this on record, though. I have not tampered with the amount of damage and resistances dinos have in any of my 100 days, okay? That's one setting I do not tamper with ever. I had to go back into the footage to check exactly what the hell happened. It had, and I quote, 660,000 HP. Okay? So, not bad. The bites from the squad were between 14,000 and like 17,000. So if we average that out to maybe 15,500 per bite, in one round of bites, because I had 20 megs, which is average bossing unit size, that's 310,000 damage in one round of bites. And they go like, grom, grom. That's 2 bites and it's dead. That accounts for all of it. Holy hell, okay. You know what? It checks out. The math checks out.
This is why I love Megalodons in general. Mate boosted, pack boosted, bleed, imprinted, and saddled. What more could you possibly want? Either way, back on topic, I got to planting my volcanic seeds straight away, and while they're growing, I took Thunder Chopper out to tame my own Guardian. They spawn in at random levels, and this one was actually absolute garbage, only level 100 with abysmal stats. This massive unit did get tamed though, and I named it Pyros, in honor of my favorite demonic thorny dragon from Primal Fear. And I guess its stats became somewhat decent once it was tamed, I'll give it that. It flings darts, and explosions follow with a great display of arson, which does have me quite pleased. And with some XP potions, I was able to boost its levels significantly. So now, hyped up out of my freaking mind, on day 51 I grabbed my fur gear and took my volcanic Dodo Rexes to the snow biome, where I spotted the electric guardian, the weak one that I can't let slip. And with all these healed on up, we charged into battle.
Okie dokie. I'm a little bit chill, yet a little bit worried about this one. Less health, but I know this one can pack a punch in an unexpected way. We have our Dodo Rex all healed up. The main meat grinder that we used before was actually really good level, so he's there as well. And we got Pyros, of course. With all that being said and done, slowly inch on forward. Oh, they're so fast. They're so fast. My babies, chill. Ah, it's so loud. Ah. Oh, that's bad. Oh, no. Hold on. Oh, this is going to end poorly. Oh, this is going to end poorly. Why is there a nightmare wyvern with 376 million health next to the weak little boy? There's no way we walk out of this unscathed. There's no way. Some of the fire is going to hit it, even though it's stuck. It's probably just stuck in trees, and it's going to break free. But here goes nothing. With it not being in render, I'm going to try and poke with my spikes. See if this works. This might be a really bad idea. Can I whip out my gun? Oh, I can. Ha! Get over here, you dingus. Come on. All right, drinking a potion preemptively. Go get him. Fight him. Beat his ass. Yeah. Oh, that's the fireballs. You see how it almost wiped them out, though. If that would have taken any little bit longer, they would have all been dead. Look, they're all half health with one round of attack. That's it. It would have taken probably around 5 seconds more for them all to have been wiped out. So it was still close. And we played our cards right by not pulling the Nightmare Wyvern, because that would have been a shell. Now, all that being said, we have the electric seeds. We have the summoner in its saddle, and I have enough stuff to tame it right here, so why not?
I actually got 3 electric guardian summoners from that kill, so I used all of them in hopes of getting a high level tameable, and luckily a level 145 was the last one to spawn. It does have a massive range on its attack, so I was a little bit careful from going about this, but eventually it plopped to the floor like any good dino should. And man, Raikage here came out with 44 health. Not bad. Not bad at all, and with a lot of XP potions stuck up its butt, it became a powerhouse, no pun intended. This thing thrashes about killing anything up to its tier with ease, so with it, our next victory surely is assured. With these electric seeds now growing in the farm too, I went to grab my electric Dodo Rexes and went to repeat the same process for the Hydra Guardian, which I spawned in with a scroll.
Okie dokie, baby. Here we go. Got Raikage. Squad captain over here is the strongest one, Triple G. They're all basically healed, and I'm basically out of potions to keep healing more. I just have enough kind of to do a fight if things go south. So, without any further ado, it's the final brain cell. As soon as it pops, I'm gonna drink my potion. There. Oh, it's a big turtle. Yeah, dude. Like 10,000 damages. They were eating it alive. 450,000 health, shredded to pieces. But again, some of them got down to like half health from full within those 2 seconds. So I think we came just prepared enough to not suffer any losses. Good job, everybody.
This one too gave me 3 summoners, and I got 2 to spawn at level 145, the best one having 36 points of melee, so I knocked it out, and well, to add insult to injury, that was all happening in front of its friends or siblings or whatever. And here, Tortellini came out with 46 melee in the end. I was very happy about that, and also that I'm able to announce that all elemental fruits are now growing in the greenhouse. Our progress means that for day 52, I can now officially craft fairy and shadow kibble, but my supplies were quite low, so I whipped up a ton more mythic sniper bullets, brought out Petunia to collect meja berries, and with them got to craft 4 pieces of fairy kibble and 4 shadow kibble, thanks to the fruits that the guardians themselves dropped upon beating them. And so with those in hand, I set out to find these types of dinos that can lay their tier of eggs to build up to the next tier. And there was a female shadow Arthropleura near the volcano, so you know the drill. Thunder Chopper and Sandman combo sealed the deal rather quickly. Thing is though, I might want to use these for some fights. They have these lingering shadow bombs and have some nasty tricks up their many sleeves. Shadow dinos reflect damage. Either way, I tamed her up and named her Nike. She's actually pretty cool once you get to know her, and then just continued my search for a female fairy dino to lay eggs. And there were a ton of fairy Pegasuses, which I don't think help in this scenario. So first in the late afternoon, I ended up spotting a fairy Argicorn, and with one single bullet, it was dropped to the floor and named Adidas. Once that was done, I rushed back home to shove these 2 into my PC for them to forever pump out eggs for me. Going into the next day, there was still time for fruits to grow and eggs to be laid, so to not just sit around and do nothing, I restocked my dwindling supplies. This entailed plowing the fields and making med brews. Close to noon, I harvested my first batch of elemental fruits from the greenhouse, which meant that I could make enough fairy kibble to go and tame myself some grifficorns. And as we learned last time, they like to spawn near snowy peaks. And as we're searching for it, I did spot a ramshackle loot boss, and it indeed spotted me, almost killing Rhonda in the process. So I skedaddled back home, grabbed Tortellini, and zipped on back to fight it because no one ever has had too much loot. Essentially, this roaming boss is a ferox with way more grenades for its own good and carries loot based on its name. So, technically, this is the lowest tier, so it should be easy.
Oh, fuck. Holy Holy sh...
Tortellini, no!
What the f happened? You know what? What goes around comes around. I probably deserved that.
Alright, you know the drill. I hopped onto Zapalicious to get my stuff back. With them successfully retrieved the next morning, I just continued my search for grifficorns to tame, and of course, there had to be a level 140 near the trapped nightmare wyvern that we had issues with, but that didn't stop us the first time, so I just hopped on straight to it. It is incredibly fast, and because it doesn't have too high torpor, it dropped rather quickly with a few well-placed rounds. Its stats sadly aren't anything to write home about, but it's mine, and that's all that matters. And with that, I was off to find a pair for it, and considering my armor was quite damaged, I kinda wanted to go home and repair it, so I just quickly settled for this level 95. Sadly though, its decision on where to land wasn't ideal.
Oh. How? Yeah, no, that grifficorn's dead. Oh my gosh. My heart sank.
It's all good though. There was another specimen near the burnt forest and it got knocked out and tamed rather quickly, so these two were placed back at base so they could make my Thunder Chopper replacement. We're looking to get all the stats from the mother because, again, this is just for transport, not for combat. So as we wait for some eggs, I went to check on my armor, and I was very thankful that I had just enough mythic ingots to repair all of the gear pieces that the loot goblin so rudely blasted off of my body. And you know what? I took that death kind of personally, because I took all of my volcanic Dodo Rexes for a rematch against the same dude.
All right. This little pack should do just fine. Go get him. Oh, they're attacking him. Oh, that was a little bit dicey there for me for a second there. I almost got hit in the crossfire. Oh, I think they're doing good. Well, emphasis on maybe. Oh, it's almost dead, actually. Yo, wait. The last one. No, Meat Grinder's dead. Oh, snap. It's so close to being dead. They sacrificed themselves for a noble cause. It's right here again. Eat him. Come on. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, Hot Rhonda. Hot Rhonda's living up to her name. Holy moly. Did he kill him? Oh, hold on. Okay, my boy is just running rampant. So much. It's just, oh, it's still there. It's still alive. Yo, wait, what? No, we were doing so good. Yeah, get him. And what the frick happened? We were doing so good. It was basically dead. All right, we'll trickle them in. There we go. Yeah. It's hard to tell what's going on with all this fog. And it keeps healing. I'm running out of Dodo Rexes, dude. All right. Final push. Final push. We're sending out the whole squad of, well, of what remains. Don't you dare. All right, this is it. Where is he? Where is he? Where is this son of a gun? All right, everybody stack. Come on. Come on. Oh, here come the last few. Oh, it's over there. Move forward, my troops. Forward, I say. Yes, yes. There. I think they got him. I think they got him. Oh, crap, I'm in the crossfire. Hot Rhonda is sometimes a little bit hard to control in these situations. Beat it. Fight him. Go. Rush it. I think they killed it. Oh, nice. We lost a little more than I had hoped for. Again, remember, these are saddled. Come to Papa. Let me see what y'all got. Let me see what y'all got. Who has the loot? Oh my goodness. Hello. Okay, so it's just blueprint galore.
Going into day 55, once the dust had settled, I checked the loot that I had gotten, and it's great blueprints and saddles, but it's all for toxic creatures, meaning if we want saddles of higher tier tames, we'll need to kill higher tier loot bosses, which is a whole process that I'm gonna get into later. Once we got back home, the first Grifficorn baby was ready, and its only stat difference from the mom was weight, and that likely won't be a problem, so I quickly harvested some fairy hide, made a saddle, and chucked it full of XP potions, and thus, behold, Fibbles Nova, and flying this thing brings me so many nostalgic memories from the good old days. For those that are new here, Fibbles is a long-lasting family tree of griffins in my ARK Survival 100 Days. We've gone from the original Fibbles, to Fibbles Revenge, to Fibbles Ultima, and now Nova. This thing is so fast too, it might actually put both Thunderchopper and Rhonda out of a job. It is quite the speed demon. For reference though on how this tier of monsters work in this mod, shadow creatures reflect damage and fairy creatures have lifesteal, so they're all good for combat, but I figured to myself, why not go and tame some shadow golems? So I took Fibbles out to get some polymer, and its red aura seems to be its lifesteal. Once I had enough polymer, I whipped up a rocket launcher and some ammunition for it and tested it out on a nearby Shadow Rock elemental. One hit though only deals 200 torpor, and that is no bueno. And no, the Sandman doesn't work on it. I tried, I ain't gonna lie, that is way too much work for little old me. This had me hatching a plan though the next morning. I was out restocking my mythic blood, as well as gathering stuff for more gunpowder, because Papa is taking these here bullets on a new taming adventure. Thanks to our recently obtained fairy and shadow eggs, I was able to make my first batch of legendary kibble. This will definitely come in handy to get a new powerhouse of a tame. I scoured the lands for a fitting tame of this tier, and the reason that I want one so badly is that amongst it, fabled and mythic creatures, these are dubbed the combat specialists. Essentially, the more they kill, the stronger they get. All this scouting landed me in the Redwoods, where I found a relatively high legendary Carno with amazing health but abysmal melee, so I tamed it in hopes of finding a partner to breed it with to compensate for that lacking stat. I mean, hey, it came out with 48 HP points, which is excellent. I don't regret this tame in one bit. I continued my search throughout the day and noticed that all the legendary creatures had some things in common. They all deal bleed, which is a very interesting feature, as that whittles down health pools like crazy. And their whole shtick of the more that they kill, the more powerful they get is called Blood Rage, and it works in stacks, reaching a total of 100. Swooping into the next morning, the hunt for legendary dinos was running quite dry. I did end up at the swamp where I did spot a chaos wyvern looming about, as well as an okay-ish legendary Sarco, which after a swift engagement was mine, which ended up at 45 points of health and 49 melee. Honestly, that was far better than I could have hoped for. I didn't find a mate for it in the swamp at the moment, big sag, but I did find a shadow centipede to breed with the one that I already have. It ain't rock golems, but this still could be interesting. So on the back of Fibbles Nova, I zipped back home to get the kibble and returned to the swamp. And I'm happy to say I landed the tame, which is actually quite surprising considering how dicey swamps tend to be, but that's 40 HP. Not bad on a bug. I cleared out a few more legendary Sarcos in the area in hopes of a better one to spawn on later, and then took my leave to initiate this unholy matrimony of legs. My hope is that an army of these can help me in combat to reflect any damage back to my prey while I sit comfortably on a legendary. I'm hoping for 40 HP and 40 melee. Not bad, not bad. And just as our luck would have it, again, the first offspring was a male with exactly those two stats. What a great start to this unholy project. The next morning, I whipped up some legendary saddles for our two new friends and then took them for a spin. Honestly though, this Sarco's hitbox kinda seems bugged. I'm not sure what's up with that, but neither does it deal damage while I'm riding it or when I send it into combat, so sadly I cannot use that. Having learned this though, I knew I would need to find a female Carno with high melee. Here's to hoping. I was trying to stay efficient too during this search by killing shadow creatures for their hide, as my centipedes are going to need that for their saddles. All day long, I had no luck whatsoever finding the legendary Carno that I needed, but at about midnight, I did find a high-level legendary trike with 31 HP points, which I did save from spontaneous dino combustion. Thing is though, I had plans to tame it. It would be going from saved to be imprisoned by me, yet for some reason, the area where it dropped from the KO apparently had eternal burning damage for some reason that also damaged me, and one confusing thing after another led to it dying, so that really sucks. What's cool though is I did find a legendary female Carno. Hooray! Its melee is abysmal, but I'll take what I can get at this point. Once I got both of these breeding back at base for the male stats, I swapped my Arthropluras for an equal pair. And since I'm at my base, I figured out how to craft high-tier summoning scrolls, and I can tell that I'm going to need artifacts and primal blood. Both those things are going to require combat to obtain, so I was out getting obsidian for the centipede saddles, but there were these two demonics right outside my door. So, using the sandmen, I had to lure them away, because that's a fire hazard and a half. I don't have insurance like that. But either way, once they were moved out, I went to go and get that obsidian nearby, and with it, got to make them saddles. It ain't much, but I got 5 of these creatures prepped for combat, dumping all of their points into HP, considering they reflect their damage. Now for day 60, as mentioned, these two objects to obtain are going to require combat, and I was going to see how challenging getting primal blood truly would be. I set my sights on a small target to start with, a primal raptor that is relatively weak compared to its peers. I brought the remainder of my volcanic Dodo Rex army to this fight and just hoped that we could come out victorious.
Here we are, the last remnants. Oh what are you guys fighting? I know there's Microraptors galore over here, but we gotta focus, team. We gotta focus. There's that primal raptor, and it's got 7.6 million health. There's no way in hell we're beating this thing, but I'm trying to use the terrain to our advantage, and I'm flinging arrows at it already. Let me put this in already here for the myth. Oh, it's coming up. It's coming up. I'm drinking a mythic potion. Oh, what's with the sounds? Oh my gosh. Oh, I think it's right here, actually. Oh, they're dying. Oh, they're dying. I can tell this is not going well amongst the absolute arson that we are witnessing. My headphones are absolutely breaking at the seams. Melee damage. Popping the alpha potion as we're about to lose our mythic potion. I see the little damage numbers right there. That's probably our adversary. I can't tell shit of what's going on. Oh, we've only gotten it to 6.8 million. Oh, shit. We might lose. Oh, we're gonna lose. This is not good. I'm just flinging as many darts as I possibly can. And our mythic potions are on cooldown. This is not good. Oh, we're getting attacked. Oh, we're getting absolutely screwed right now. We're half health on pyros. Run! Run for the hills, pyros! We're stuck. Hold on. Positioning is everything. I saw it run down there. I saw it. Heal. Okay. We're still in it to win it. I'm not backing down. We still got one dedicated fighter down here. Hold on. I'm gonna back you up. No! Okay, I'm watching my health. And boom, mythic potion. Oh, there's no way. We've only gotten it to 6.3 million. Admittedly, that's not bad. With elemental dinos, which aren't fairy or legendary, we got it over 1 million down. The question is, can we escape? Can we tuck tail and run? Uh-oh. Pyros is in fact not the best swimmer to date. Yep, I think that settles it. We need some fairies, some shadows, and a whole lot of in-betweens to actually get this to work. All right, back to the drawing board it is.
Well, considering that recent encounter, I went to experiment with my shadow centipedes, and out of 28 damage that they take, they deal 5 back, which is rounded up like 18% of damage reflection. Its hits aren't actually bad either. That's 5.6k damage per hit unleveled. I actually think we're cooking. Either way, I had some time to kill as I waited for more creatures to hatch, so I was just scouting for a primal tech creature to fight. They seem to have much less health than regular primals, but even for the weakest parasaur of this type that I could find, I would still need substantial damage increases, let me tell ya. 61 had me still searching for a good legendary Carno, cause Papa really desperately needs that good melee, and for most of the morning I found absolutely nothing, but at about like 9ish, I found a male with pretty good melee. I think we hit the jackpot, and drum roll for the final melee stat, 42. That's okay, so I got home to add it to the conga line of egg making. Considering though it's gonna take a while to get a perfect specimen with all these stats from these Carnos, I have some time to kill. So a tier of tames that I'm still missing is Fabled and Mythic, so I made some kibble of them and set out to tame some egg layers of these types. For most of the day though, I was coming up empty-handed on this front. First, the next morning, I spotted a max level female Mythic Therizino, and considering Mythics, and on top of that Therizinos, are really good at gathering materials, I tranked it out without a second thought, but it was a little bit dicey, because I had to lead it through this here trench, away from a demonic Hyaenodon. But I was successful, so ta-da! We have the perfect fiber and wood gatherer, and after scattering around for a little while longer, I found a fabled Anki near the snowy peaks, which got claimed as my own in no time flat. Note that fabled creatures are really good resource haulers, not the same as good gatherers as the mythics, but this will still help, I'm sure. But before these ladies would be doing any work back at home, I set them to lay some eggs in the terminal. Then, for a very long while, I just collected polymer from these mantises to repair the Sandman. And with my sniper now repaired on day 63 and bullets restocked, I went to check on my Carnos, and one with proper health and melee was on the verge of hatching. So I quickly scrambled to saddle my mythic fairy, named Blueberry, and used it to gather mejoberries to make tons and tons of healing potions. So once I was done with that, I was able to saddle this perfect Carno, which I dubbed Cannibal. Which makes sense considering I was streaming Sons of the Forest around when I recorded all this. And to not miss any streams, down below is a link to my Twitter to follow me there for stream calendars and IRL updates. With some XP potions in hand, I got her boosted up and began to rake in some kills to see exactly what damage she could do. This bloodbath was very lengthy, it carried throughout the entire day, and note that damage stacking doesn't stay forever, as the bar will decrease if you wait too long for your next kill. And with this streak all the way up, the levels were rolling on in too, and the damage was surpassing 10k per bite. Day 64 continued with us chomping like ravenous animals, and once I hit 100 kills to max out the streak, my damage was sitting at a very respectable 18k per bite. During the process of leveling Cannibal, I also reached level 90, unlocking both demonic and angelic kibble, for which I surprisingly had enough resources to make them. I did not expect that to happen actually, so I'll get to that in a minute. First though, I went to get my shadow centipedes and set out with them to kill my first primal, as again, I still need its blood. And yes, I would be rematching a raptor to see if we're any better than we were with those Dodo Rexes. Thing is though, I didn't have much success to rake up a lot of kills with my blood rage, but nonetheless, I just full sent it.
There's that primal carno that I don't want to mess with. Over there's the raptor that I do want to mess with, because this primal carno has more than double the health than the primal raptor, so that's an easy pick. I think it's stuck in the water. This is actually pretty good. This is actually pretty nice. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop out the shadow gang. Shadow wizard money gang. We got a couple females, a couple males in there to get a mate boosted. Oh, let me free. Oh, I hear him. Ooh. Hold on. Everybody, chill out. Everybody, oh. One's going for it. Get him. Get him, my minions. Oh, don't. Ah, they can't swim. Okay, everybody halt. Everybody halt. Everybody halt. Everybody halt. Hold your horses. If you guys can't swim, then we have to lure him like that way. Go, 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 go. Come on. Go, 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 go. Go that way. Shoot. All right. And it's up to me to aggro. There you go. The Sandman never fails. Here we go. He's not wanting to follow me, so I'm gonna have to give him a little nip. Oh, don't tell me this. Oh, this is actually good. Hold on. Oh, this is it. Yeah, go. Shadow Wizard Money Gang, let's go. Holy crap, he hurts. He hurts. I saw my health drop there from just 2 hits, but I have my Mythic potion active. I can't see anything. There's so many legs. Get down here, you. Come on. Fight me, motherfucker. Or just do that. That's also really good. You know what? I'm not going to judge. Here we go. It's fighting one of the Shadow Arthropluras. It's chewing through its health like butter, but I see some damage going back, which is cool. That was the intended purpose here. Go fight him. Go, 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 go. Yeah. What are you doing over there? I got 54 seconds on my good potion. I'm only gonna come in, get the bleed off that the legendaries provide, and dip basically, because I don't want to take too many hits. There we go, there we go. Oh, now we're at a nice spot. They're nipping him, I'm nipping his butt. I think we got this in the bag. When in doubt, cheese it out. Oh yeah, it's dealing like 10k per hit. I think the shadow centipedes are applying like a burn type deal. But that's a lot of damage. That damage ticks in our favor. Yeah, I see about 2k, 1,962 that reflect back to the target from each bite that it does. Not bad. I like these centipedes. We're just like not bloodlusted up at all. So we're only dealing 6.6 thousand per bite. Yeah, it's about to die. All right. Yeah, primal blood, let's fucking go. Not a whole lot. I wanted to use my pick on it, but it works. I also got its soul straight in my inventory, so that's nice. Not too bad. I like that. I mean, the water was in our favor, but, you know, cheesers can't be complainers.
Considering I actually had no losses during this encounter, I figured on day 65 to face the Primal Carno as well. And the shadows were definitely doing their job of reflecting the damage, but they were also slowly losing a lot, and I mean a lot of health. This meant that the team was falling apart rather quickly, so once we had it at about half health, I made the executive decision to fall back for a bit before re-engaging. I decided that I was going to fight it solo as long as I had healing potions that were not on cooldown, and the bleed actually was doing most of the damage. It seems like the centipedes actually weren't all that useful, but either way.
Oh, fuck. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm meshed into him. I don't have any more potions that I can use. Nope, I'm gonna die. On the last milk, I'm gonna lose Cannibal. Come on, healing potion. There's one. Please heal. Oh, it's out healing the damage. Oh, that was close. Oh, that was so very close. I'm meshed into it. I couldn't leave. Woo, I had goosebumps there for a sec. Dear Lord. Primal metal arrows. Okay. Not bad. And primal advanced bullets. Oh, these probably deal more torpor than my current bullets. Let's freaking go.
I then flew on over to another primal raptor to see how soloing it entirely with just cannibal would go, and it was okay. The bleed did its part, and once the healing potions were on cooldown, it simply became a jousting match of biting and running. So with patience and persistence, I landed a bunch of cool loot from this kill, but that's just a normal primal. These undead primal resurrecteds have like 180 million health. We are not even close to being able to kill that, so we still have quite a ways to go. On the note of high HP pools, and considering I want to beat some origins, I went in search of one on day 66. Considering I struggled with 20 million health, 164 is definitely off the table. Thing is though, we basically have everything to summon in a whole round of each origin with these here summoners, except for artifacts. So considering this, I flew on over to the Icy Peaks, where there's this monster called Mr. Artifacto the Stronger. And yes, you guessed it, killing him gives you artifacts. And doing this didn't seem to be an issue at all, but that's when something very bizarre occurred. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, it spawned in the stronger one. Oh, shit. I don't know if he's aggressive and just hasn't seen me. That is 261 million health. That's a 30% chance of spawning upon killing one of the littler ones. He drops more artifacts, but I can't deal with that. That shit. Cannibal, we gotta go. I just kept on fighting regular Mr. Artifactos for the day, and it's really funny that it wears a top hat and summons turkeys. Who comes up with this shit? Either way, I did get to craft my first batch of summoning scrolls, starting with the weakest here. Completely derailing this topic though, the next morning I came up with a really bad idea. You see, every time a ramshackle loot boss, yes, the one that kills us every time, gets close to dying, it ranks up. And since I want angelic and demonic saddles, I need to rank this loot boss up significantly, multiple times, to get the saddles that I need. And once I have them, I will know exactly what kind of dinos that I want to go tame, specifically from angelic and demonic tier. That was the logic of that decision. So once I saw this Ferox, I raked up several kills, and before I was able to do much of anything against it, something catastrophic, of course, had to occur.
No! Dude! What the fuck, man? I didn't even have a chance to fight him! That does it. Rest in peace, cannibal. I need angelics and demonics right now. That hurt.
I returned as fast as I could with Hot Rhonda, as I had my most valuable possessions on me, and by that I mean Fibbled Nova. So I took my stuff and dipped. Back to the drawing board it was for me as I repaired my singed gear. I made 5 angelic kibble to start making a stronger combat unit, and I knew just what I wanted, an angelic Yudi. There happened to be one out in the glaciers, and man, these primal trank bullets that I looted from the primal kills pack a punch and a half. I tamed it up as fast as I could as my health was depleting super quick, not even allowing me to check the final stats. But with it, I tucked tail and got out of there as fast as I could. And this is when I remembered I hadn't looted Cannibal's loot bag, and I quickly needed to find it because that had all my potions, and thank goodness I found it before it despawned. Now with my possessions being returned to me, I could finally take some time to see what I need for the Yudi's saddle, and I'm going to need angelic hide and demonic ingots. I am severely With this information, I knew for day 68 more combat was up ahead, so I saddled up a new legendary Carno, and note, apparently you have to repair these modded saddles. At least we got this one leveled up with tons of XP potions that we got from using Cannibal earlier. And how lucky for this new combat unit, there's a demonic dodo right outside that will hopefully become its first victim. Charge!
Oh, we tanking. Oh, we tanking. My screen is shaking. I should have raked in some kills probably before this, honestly. Off I go, off I go. Cotton Eye Joe. All right, I need to gain my potions back. They're on cooldown. Ah, shit, come. And go. Round 2, mother clucker. I'm gonna try not to stand in the fire. Mythic. You know, I said I'm gonna try not to stand in the freaking fire, but the fire is everywhere, so I have very little say in that matter. I am so glad, though, that these legendary dinos give rider protection. I'd be dead a long time ago. Come on! Holy crap. Oh, my health. You know what? Let's add that little extra little one to the mix. Okay, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. Okay, we need cooldown. We need to be off cooldown. Give me a kill. Your sacrifice will not be in vain. Let's get the bleed on. They heal quite fast, actually. I noticed his health comes back quite a bit. It's either that or I'm losing it. You know, both could be very true. 2, 1, pop. Okay, it's under a mil. Got 25 seconds left on this mythic potion. Did we almost, like, stun lock him? Oh, I'm only on 5 seconds. Oh, I just made it out of the fire in time. Oh, that could have been so bad. All right, we got these two. Them combo generally is good. Come here, you son of a... Keeping the bleed on him. And... oh, I was about to say the deal is sealed and a demonic equus shows up in my face. Okay. All we gotta do is kill him. We just need the blood because we need to make demonic ingots. Come on. Come on, baby. All right. Boom. Die. Okay. We killed it. All right, we got a little bit of demonic blood. That was so little.
For some reason, though, I must have put the fear of God into this equus, as it didn't even hit me once as I nibbled it into an early grave. And thankfully, my Carno didn't eat it, so I could get much more blood harvested with my hatchet. Perfect. Now with these demonic ingots smelting up, it was time to get some angelic hide. And considering I'm a dirty little I simply knocked out an angelic direwolf and proceeded to bite it to death in its sleep. Function over form, as they say. So I've killed our first demonics and angelics, but I'm going to need much more hide, so I just rinsed and repeated the same process for as long as my ammo could hold out. I was giddy with excitement, though, on the morning of day 69 to craft this angelic saddle for my Yudi, and since I named my first ever Yudi Cleric in my first ever 100 Days video, put your hands together for Preacher. His stats aren't great at all, but that's what we have XP potions for, and his explosive burst roars in the shape of a cone, kind of like a shotgun, which is absolutely perfect. And what perfect opportunity it would be to just hop on over the pond and test out its strength on a large health pool.
All right, you want to go? Ha ha ha! Look at that! Boom! 4 million health gone, and that could have been so much more. Holy shit, I love this dude. Preach, brother, preach.
I ain't gonna lie, I felt like king of the world at this point, being able to kill primals, angelics, and demonics in no time flat. Yet an even larger task stood before me, an origin triceratops.
All right. This is the true test to see how much damage the shotgun burst deals in one singular blow. So here we go. Potion. Okay, it was 132 million health. Oh. And that dropped it by quite a bit, honestly. I'm kind of stuck, though. Oh, it is fast. Oh, it is fast. Oh, look at the drift. I wanted to stay in my angelic burst to keep melting him. Will you stop? There you go. I just gotta circle him. Look, he doesn't know what to do. This is not a time to take a Preacher. He's gonna come twirling around me in a sec. Yeah, there you go. Oh, let's pop the potion there. That got a little bit scary there, but boom, look. 100 million plus damage melted, and I used 3 potions. I probably could have done that with 1 if it wouldn't move around so much. Well, I'll be. All right. There you go. Eat up. There you go. Primitive origin trike token. We need to collect these of every single origin. Oh, we got its blood too and its soul. Nice. But if we have all of these, then we can summon an even stronger boss. But I'm feeling confident, man. Day 69 has been fucking awesome.
I was even more hyped up to see that this thing even has Courage Roar. This tame is so OP. So logically, if I can buff things, I need things to buff. So you know what that means. It's time to go and tame some demonics for actual DPS, because apparently they deal more. I scoured the volcanic mountains, but no luck of finding such a tame, but remembering the Nightmare Reaper Queen that I spotted at the shores, I went to check on over there, and indeed, I nearly crashed into this here demonic specimen. Just look at that beauty, and after knocking it out in the water, it plopped down into the shallows, so I hurried on over to feed it before it would drown. And from the sea, this beast rose, ready to conquer this world. And thankfully, I already have enough hide to saddle this one on up. So behold, beside Preacher stands Sinner with approximately equal stats in health and melee. This ravenous Goliath takes us into day 70, and since it's pretty equal to Preacher, I tested it out against an Origin Direbear with close to 200 million health. Thing is, I was rather surprised in a negative way how much less damage it was dealing with its marvelous display of rage-fueled arson, and admittedly, I think I was dealing so much passive fire tick damage that I think the bear couldn't even move in the raging flames. This meant that I could burn this beast to a crisp without using a single health potion. So having run that test, we have one more to do. How would a fight go against an Origin with this wombo combo?
All right, let's start off easy. Start off easy with the Kairoku. It's a fucking penguin. We should be totally hunky-dory. As long as you don't run around like an idiot, we should be fine. Get him! There you go. There's a courage buff, as if we fucking need it. I totally forgot. I don't have healing potions on me right now. It's coming for me. Okay, all of my healing potions are actually on Sinner. I forgot to swap them out. Oh, this is great though. It's going after me and completely leaving Sinner alone. And as long as I can keep it in the fire, this is great. It's cooking it alive. It's already half health. All right, you know what? Fuck you. Shotgun blast. Random bullshit. Go. Oh, it's not even tickling Sinner. Oh, the explosions are lagging my PC. Oh, there's so many damage numbers. Dude, I have a 4090 in this. And that was difficult. Holy. Oh, that's another token. All right, let's do the raptor, shall we? Round. I don't know how many. Go. Eat them alive. Oh, dude, that damage against Sinner, though, I just noticed. Let's drink a potion just to be safe. Holy shit. I just saw some damage on Sinner, though. Dude, look at the damage numbers. What am I even looking at? You know, I'm just spray and pray at this point, really. I mean, we're a shotgun, but we're basically a machine gun considering Sinner's abilities. All right, it's dead. Good job, Sinner. We had to tank us, and we walked backwards along the fire. That was actually not a bad strat. We created a fire that it walked in the entire time, and I was shotgunning it straight in the face all the time because I could apply potions to Preacher. We never were close to dying, so that was actually pretty good. Oh, hello. Wait a minute. I just got Ascendant Alpha Metal Hatchets, and I got Nightmare Health Potion. Provides 20% health per second for 50 seconds long. Okay, that's the next tier of potions. That's higher than Mythic. That's actually really great. All right, final one. Carno. 180, okay. Holy crap, the damage against Sinner. Holy crap. That's fine. Oh, dude, hold on. Sinner, please live. Tank, 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 Preacher, tank. Oh, we got it in the bag. We got it in the bag. Oh, we got it in the bag. Easy mix squeezy. Bada bing. Ain't nothing to it, baby.
That there was all the summoning scrolls that I had on hand. I was considering that some of them appear in the wild quite frequently, so I went to have a check. I don't want to fight more Mr. Artifactos than I need to. And I did remember where an Origin RG had spawned, so once I got there, I got to slaying it in no time flat. It didn't have much of a say in the matter because it was stuck in a trench and couldn't get out, but I was seemingly punished for this amount of cheese as I disconnected, and once I reconnected, it was dead, but I didn't receive the token for the kill. Oh, it is what it is. So I just hopped on over to the Grand Canyon where Origin Spinos like to spawn and just took one out there.
Holy fuck, the water. Oh, my PC! My PC! No! My PC! Oh no. This is bad. Here we go. Pray for my PC. Oh, my game crashed. No! No, 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 no. Oh, gotta go. Come on, please. Preacher, please be with me. All right, I'm either dead or alive. I'm dead. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Rhonda.
I zipped on back as fast as Rhonda's mud flaps could take me, and both Preacher and the Spino were still kicking it surprisingly, although my armor was completely shot, but so was this Spino's HP shortly after. So with one final shot to my GPU, I sent it to Davy Jones' locker. Once I put myself together again the next morning, I went to go kill some artifactos to craft the remaining summoners that I still needed, and I got lucky that there were two of them right next to each other, and that is the precise point where my luck ended, because as I killed both of them, each had a stronger version spawned right on top of them, and to add insult to injury, just my luck, I suppose. Once I used Preacher's shotgun blast, like many times moving forward, I had a connection issue and completely disconnected and also subsequently died. Thankfully though, once I got back there, Preacher was still alive, so I moved him away from the scene. The artifactos aren't naturally aggressive, so I got to pick up my loot just fine. Later on, I had to have another scuffle with an Origin RG as I hadn't gotten the token last time, and the fight was going great, but I think I know why we are having these PC issues. Preacher is just too strong. The amount of damage numbers overloads my PC and makes me lose connection to the server. So once I reconnected, the RG was dead, but again, no token for me. So I went back, crafted another summoning scroll for it, and would try not to spam the Kamehameha shotgun blast. And during this rematch, I was just playing peekaboo with the damage numbers as to not overload my device, and that seemed to do the trick. The token was finally mine, and with this knowledge, I followed it up with facing the Origin Rex and Yudi doused in holy fire. This meant that the Origin Dodo Reaper and Wyvern were the final course of these battles for day 72, but admittedly, the Dodo Reaper had me on the ropes for a little while, as it has a lot of natural armor, and during this fight, I sadly disconnected yet again, which obviously meant that when I reconnected, I was dead as hell. I rushed to go and try and save Preacher, but there was no relenting with this aberration dino. I even lost Rhonda in this process, which had me so sad. And as I returned to the battlefield on Thunder Chopper, I witnessed Preacher falling dead right before me. My heart still can't process the loss of these two amazing dinos, and in the process of retrieving my items and harvesting Preacher for his blood, I sadly lost Thunder Chopper as well. How amazing is that? And as you can probably tell, this invoked a death spiral, losing me a bunch of pains. So, once I finally got my stuff back, I needed to have a good think about what to do, as losing Preacher was a major blow to our arsenal. Admittedly, Sinner isn't the largest damage dealer, but I do think that I can do something with a demonic tame, so I was scouring the Mesa area for a good demonic thorny dragon, and spotted one with 34 points of melee at about midnight. So I was knocking it out leisurely the next morning when an angelic manticore decided to fight me and it, so I had to delicately lure it away to continue my tame, and it was successful. It came out with a respectable 46 points of damage, so I then looked for a male with better health. And well, this one right here wasn't all that extraordinary, but he'll do. At least it came out with 42 points of HP. It could be worse. These two fiery lizard wizards were then set to breed, and to be honest, I thought the mod would have them unbreedable, but I'm glad that's not the case. So while we wait for a perfectly imprinted gecko from hell, I set out to kill a loot boss with my tail tucked and my cheeks clenched. Surprisingly though, I killed it incredibly fast, so fast that I didn't even know if it was dead. Neither did it, it was just stuck in its idle animation. That was not a mission success, as I wanted to rank up for better loot. So for my next attempt, I tried to not go overkill style and just munched it instead of burning it to a crisp. So cautiously, I got it to evolve into its next stage and then dipped. And that seemed to work. It's an apprentice now. So I repeated this same process until it became a journeyman, which has upped its damage. It's causing way too many explosions for anybody's good. This was a very, and I mean very, bizarre and dangerous engagement to say the least, but in the heat of the moment, I accidentally killed it before it could evolve again. And as I was inspecting the now upgraded loot, I got ascended saddles that reached up to elemental tier, but apparently, this boss wasn't done with me just yet.
Oh, 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 why did it evolve? I killed it. What? That has to be a glitch. That has to be a glitch. Hold on. I killed it and I got all the saddles and it evolved again. Okay, free loot. All right, it's Mastercraft now. Next day, here we go. I got those two, buddy. I got them. Oh, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. Ooh, I killed him. Okay, yeah, I full killed him on accident. That was not the goal. Here's the thing though, is he gonna just show up again like last time from having been dead? I don't think so. Okay, well, we killed a Mastercraft one very easily with Sinner, so I guess that's good. Yo, hold on. Okay, it wasn't ascended, but I got an angelic Spino saddle, an ascended angelic Theory saddle, ascended demonic Parasaur saddle. Oh, this is great. Hold on. Oh, we got one for an angelic griffin on top of that, not ascended. One for a demonic ferox and a Daedon. Not bad for that level. Not bad at all. Okay.
As for the next loot boss, it was in a bit of a peculiar spot as it was tucked away in some ruins, and fighting it felt like playing a game of peekaboo until it broke out as it reached the next tier. This one somehow though caught me off guard and killed me real good. It's still a blur on what exactly happened, and once I got back, Sitter was sadly no more. At least the positive thing here is this didn't cause another death spiral. I got my stuff back just fine, and I had just the thing to go and get my vengeance. An imprinted thorny dragon with the proper health and melee was ready, but sadly, I did not have enough demonic hide to make a saddle for it. This had me hatching up a plan though. I knew just the tame that I could saddle, which could lead to me getting demonic hide. This here angelic griffin, and boy did I tussle with this thing near the cliffs. It was a tango and a half, desperately trying Fibbles to not get one-tapped, but as this opponent dropped to the floor unconscious, Fibbles looked at me with a level of disgust, thinking that I might replace him, but we'll ignore that awkwardness for now. I named this newly tamed angelic griffin Fibbles' Blessing, and together we roamed the skies, harvesting every bit of demonic hide that we could get our hands on. We were raining death from above upon dinos straight into the next morning, and after a little while of doing this, I had enough hide to make the saddle for the demonic thorny dragon. And considering it's a fiery, thorny dragon, and we just did our 100 days in Sunbreak, I named this thing a Spinos, and I made sure to make this thing a glass cannon. Every level went straight into damage. Just look at these two fine specimens. The new generation of angelics and demonics is here. I tested out the Spinos and its fire damage is exceptional, and so with this massive upgrade, we went for a rematch with Sinner's Killer. Oddly enough, this thing didn't do me the favor of evolving, even though it should have. It's probably bugged because I left it alone for so long, so I simply ended its reign of terror, and even weirder to add to this, at the same spot by the ruins, another loot boss spawned. So pushing past a weird sensation of deja vu, I realized in this engagement that he knocks you off your mount occasionally, which is likely what happened when I was on top of Sinner and fought it. At sunset, I managed to kill it once again at Mastercraft tier. I had gotten a few demonic and angelic items, sure, and I got exactly what I wanted, Not at the Ascended tier, but still a decent blueprint for a demonic thorny dragon saddle. Logically, the next day I had to grind a ton of demonic hide on top of Fibble's Blessing to craft that blueprint for Espinas, and I finally could do so after a long while. I crafted the saddle, and it came out even better than the armor stat on it, as my armor gives me a little bit of a buff to crafting bonus. With all that prep work out of the way though, it is high time for a rematch with that gosh darn Origin Dodo Reaper.
All right, I'm setting the ground on fire where it lands to get a head start. It's all or nothing this time, and it still has a lot of defense, but it's taking more tick damage than the Holy Fire from Preacher when we tried this. It's got also 20 million less health by the looks of things, but this is gonna definitely take a while. All right, there's the Mythic. Yeah, the spikes themselves deal 0, but the fire deals 476. That's a lot of armor. Oh, I don't have any more healing potions that are not on cooldown. And Nightmare. There we go. This is going to take a bit. This is going to take a very, 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 very long bit. This is the fight that never ends. I've been here for like a few minutes and I've barely scraped it.
Oh, I kept at it, but it became very clear to me that I wouldn't have enough healing potions to last for the entirety of this fight. I was happy with the results, sure, but it just wasn't efficient enough considering its armor. So while cooking up a plan for the rest of the day, I also brewed up some more health potions since I wasted so many. On day 77, I decided, for some reason, I might as well try and kill the Origin Reaper with Fibble's Blessing, and it seems to be doing much more damage than the demonic thorny dragon. For some reason, angelics just are better, it seems. But thing is, the damage had me so distracted, I didn't realize that I overheated to death. In a panic, I hopped onto the back of Fibble's Nova and zipped on over to check things, but sadly, Fibble's Blessing passed away. I have no idea why I overheated that quickly. I guess that's a mechanic, I think? I've had it though. I am so done with this Origin. So I went back to my roots and lured it out into the open sea, where hopefully it would not escape the clutches of my pack of hydromegalodons, baby! They would tickle it to death on its shins, and it was a sight to behold, let me tell you. My Megs tore it slowly to shreds. It did not have a say in the matter. It didn't attack once. My eyes nearly started watering at the sight of this glorious cheese, and it was surprisingly even faster to kill than using demonics or angelics. I guess when in doubt, cheese it out. The last remaining Origin was the Wyvern, as you know, and I intended to fight it in the water cavern as I don't want it flying away. And thankfully it flew into a wall, which I covered in fire. This fight did take its very long time though, so on day 78, I was able to get that win, and with that, the last Origin token. Now, you might be wondering why I've been collecting all of the Origin tokens. Well, I need them to summon the angelic and demonic bosses, and once I have their souls, I can summon Draconis, the top Origin boss, from which I can get tokens to get some really good tames. Either way, I thought it was time for a reward. I just reached level 98 as well, so I can craft Legendary Riot Armor, which is the second best armor set in the mod. All I had to do to craft it was grind some resources, so while I'm having at that, a quick note, my lovelies. This is also the level where you unlock Spirit and Chaos Kibble. Now the thing is, I play with auto engrams in this run, so I'm not sure if that was supposed to unlock or not, because from what I read, you're only supposed to unlock these kibbles from beating the Spirit and Chaos boss. So I wasn't entirely sure if crafting these at this point was against the flow of the mod, but don't worry, although I'm going to craft one piece of Spirit kibble, it's not going to result in any other piece of content unlocked, so technically, we're still good. Just wanted to let you know. So considering this information and that I wanted to tame a spirit creature, I noticed the problem was I didn't have anything that lays angelic eggs, and because I already have an ascended angelic Theory Saddle blueprint, I might as well go and tame those. This meant that for day 79, my goal was to tame a breeding pair, and out of all of the specimens that I found throughout the entire day in the jungle, I tamed a couple that I figured could do the job. I picked them up and brought them back into my cave to breed, and they came out with a drum roll, 44 melee for the female, and 50 freaking 1 HP for the male, which is absolutely juicy, and while we breed them to get a perfect specimen, I have a lot of angelic hide to grind for the rest of the day. I did make sure, though, to make a brief pit stop to make sure demonic ingots were cooking up on day 80, and I also got thousands of wood pieces thanks to the ascended tools the strong bosses had been dropping up until this point. But how could I forget I have somebody just for this job that can get wood better than I ever could? Because honestly, as good as this new armor set is for combat, it has terrible carry weight in comparison to my old set. However, that's beside the point. Primarily, I just did hide gathering for the rest of the day. Some wild origins were also on my to-kill list on day 81, as I needed more tokens, and I decided to fight this origin Carno here with Espinas, and hopefully level Espinas up significantly in this process. This Carno, however, did a whole lot of damage with bleed and for some reason fire, and in the heat of battle, no pun intended, Espinas and I both bit the dust. That was a very bizarre death. I have absolutely no idea what happened there to this day. However, once I recouped all of my stuff, I focused on the newly hatched baby angelic Theres, and I picked the best one out of the lot, saddled it with just a regular angelic saddle for it, and then promptly named it Templar. As for its very much so innocent siblings, well, they got sliced and diced up into angelic hide. With that done, I went to go test out this new beast though, and its holy explosion has a wide range and significant damage. So I made up my mind. Together, we would grind for more angelic hide and artifacts from Mr. Artifactos for the rest of the day. And you are correct to assume that during this grind on day 82, we got one of the stronger versions, the Pappy, to spawn. And considering it got aggroed by my holy fire, which spanned 50,000 kilometers across the entire map, I had no choice but to fight it. It has over 250 million HP, and it rains down meteors from the sky, but just as fast as it spawned, and Templar sent it back to the afterlife. I'm so proud of this bad boy. This victory gained us so many artifacts, and on top of that, an origin artifact blueprint, which when crafted is used to bind origins. It's basically when you want to tame origins, they're taming food. So once I got home, I started working towards crafting this blueprint, which involved crafting my first spirit kibble as part of the recipe, but I was short on primal blood, so I made a trip to snatch some up. Thing is, in this process, I did the big bad no-no of splashing a holy explosion into the water, causing all stegos server-wide to moonwalk across the air. So I guess once I reconnected, I'd continue my primal search a little bit more cautiously. But in the evening, I was actually able to craft this bizarre item from the blueprint. This item isn't gonna help me gain any progress that I shouldn't based on the flow of the mod, because you can only tame your own origins after defeating Draconis, the origin boss, so we'll cross that bridge once we get there. Either way, considering that was my goal, on day 83 I made a ton of origin summoners and chopped up a few more angelic Theres for their sweet hide, along with some wild angelics to complete the ascended saddle. To be sure though, I got the best possible outcome. I made a mind wipe tonic, drank it all down, and then dumped all of my points into crafting skill, which allowed this saddle to come out with 187 points of armor. This item was fitted onto Templar on day 84, and as disturbing as this sounds, I chose his best sister to be his combat partner to give him a mate boost, with all of her levels put into health. Hopefully, with 16 million points of HP, she can tank the blows while Templar enjoys the 33% of extra damage. And boy, did I have plans to wipe out the origins from the face of the earth with this combo.
Alright, so here we are. We got the pack up in this we got Templar and his sister. We're not gonna think about that too much. I changed my armor set, by the way, to use some primitive mythic flak chest pieces in unison with some legendary riot pieces to get the boosts that I actually like, but that's besides the point. What we're gonna do here today is special. In this pit of death, I'm gonna summon multiple origins. The sharks are gonna nibble at their booty cheeks, and Templar is gonna rain a holy fire from above, and I'm gonna pray that my PC doesn't disconnect me. That's the plan. So we're gonna start off pretty chill. I don't want to use the hellfire too much because that's definitely gonna cause my PC to crash, but that's like the last resort. We're gonna see how these megalodons hold up because they killed that origin dodo reaper thingamabobber incredibly easily. So let's try with 2 raptors. I think that'd be a good place to start, huh? Let me sit on you. There you go. We're gonna put you in the middle. I'm gonna spawn one in. Apparently, I can only spawn one in at a time. That's fine. There it is. All right, there they go. There go the piranhas. I like that they're elemental tier and they're still so useful, dude. It's beautiful. Look at that. They're just wiggling and nibbling. I can't even see the HP. I think he's fighting back, but I'm not sure. Oh, he's actually tanking. Oh, let's give them some time. Let's see what they do. There you go. So notice how it barely was taking any damage, but because these are hydromegalodons, they deal suffocating. So once it's out of oxygen, its HP is going to drop regardless of their damage because it has no more oxygen, which makes this an insane way to grind these tokens. I am so incredibly pleased. Like, you have no idea how pleased I am right now.
I did this for the entire day, for as many tokens as I could get my grubby little hands on, but amidst the slaughter, many disconnects were included, so I ditched the idea of the death pit really quickly. Day 85, however, had me coming up with all sorts of new, dumb ideas. For example, case 1, summoning in 3 origins into 1 trench so they could not escape in order for Templar to burn them all alive for max efficiency. This still caused me to freaking disconnect, but I think later on I was onto something, as when I shoot at them, I need to look away into the sky or any other direction while they are burning and or exploding. That seemed to do the trick for me to not disconnect, so I just grinded origins this way for the entire day. Thing is though, apparently if it's not disconnect, something else is gonna get your because Templar apparently is so powerful that I must have looked into the wrong direction, and that ended up causing a blue screen mid-origin fight. Splendid! After that marvelous event, I was surprisingly still alive though, and then just continued what I had been doing previously. So, by the end of the day, I was actually able to craft the summoning scrolls for both Zaphiros and Skorvax, the angelic and demonic bosses, and in preparation, I set up a brand new demonic thorny dragon, as I figured a good demonic might be good against, well, the angelic boss. And so, it's time on day 86 to face the demonic boss Skorvax.
Okie dokie. So we have Templar and his sister just chilling over here on a ledge. But I intend to summon Skorvax right below it in hopes that I can just rain hell from above, or, well, I guess heaven in this case. Either way, here goes nothing. There you go. Oh, why is it such a big AoE? Oh, I don't think it's gonna spawn below. I think it's gonna stomp right on top of us. Okay, there it is. Okay, don't look at the damage numbers. It has 570 million health. I don't want to disconnect. It summoned so many Reapers. The damage, I should have disabled the damage numbers. Oh my goodness. Oh, I disconnected. God, wait. This is the jank that never ends. Yeah, of course I'm dead as hell. Of course I'm dead as hell.
Yep, I just prepped another angelic theory, named it Crusader, and returned to the fight against this beast known as Skorvax with damage numbers disabled.
Alright, you motherfucker. My one weakness has been removed, and that is technology. So, let's give this a go for round 2, shall we? Fight me, you spawn of Satan! Nightmare potion up and melt you to pieces with no damage numbers to speak of. I don't care. I don't care. I'm just gonna shotgun blast you infinitely. I don't care. I don't care. Look at you. Look at you. You're so dumb. You're so dumb. Look at you. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. You are. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. Talk on these nuts or something. I don't know. I don't care. F you. You're dead. You're dead. There's the demonic boss soul. That was it. We're done. Templar died for nothing.
I then decided to just proceed by also fighting Zaphiros, the angelic boss, because why not?
Ooh, yeah. 1.1 billion health? What? I saw my scalp floating across the rocks. What? Okay. Okay. This is fine. This is fine. This is so fine.
With some kiting, I was able to get to my body bag, which is really nice, and I might have been buck naked, but I was also very furious. So I flung fiery hell onto it with my demonic thorny dragon, and I seemed to have it on the ropes, as it couldn't really reach me from here, but even with a nightmare potion active, it just clipped me and one-tapped me straight into the afterlife. At least I was able to get my stuff back again without much complaint, but I definitely need a solution for such a tanky boss. And this got me thinking. Scorvax did drop a tameable summoner of himself, so once I got back on my feet, I was making preparations to go and tame it. This meant that next morning I could actually summon him. However, I had the high ground, so this duel was not a challenge at all. I knocked it out from the safety atop this here waterfall, and bada bing bada boom, knocked it out, fed it some kibble, and claimed Scorpia as my friend with 42 points of melee. But this beefy boy needs a saddle, sadly, which you can only get from ascended loot bosses, so that's a little bit of a snag in my plan. But as the saying goes, ain't no point crying over spilled beans. So atop this new angelic theory, which I named Halo, I began to grind them, and it was a very long game of hide and go seek in the water with this here one at the end of the day. Each tick of fire damage deals knockback, so it's almost impossible to actually get close enough to hit the darn thing to get an ascended version to spawn. First, by sunrise of the next morning, I got it to evolve into this stage, playing all of my cards very cautiously, and after killing it in its final form, the end process is the easiest, we got away with tons of blueprints and saddles for Angelics and Demonics, but sadly, still nothing for Scorvax. At sundown first, I was able to kill one more Ascended Loot boss, but the Scorvax drop just wasn't to be found. So, disheartened, I went back home, but along the way, came across a pretty decent quality Angelic Griffin specimen, and I did just get an Ascended Angelic Griffin saddle, so I'll put a pin on that idea, but it is very tempting. I may be back. My trip had me passing by Zephyros on day 89, who's actually still there. Hasn't moved, and his health pool is still reduced, which we had nibbled away, so out of spite, I just threw some leftover volcanic Dodo Rexes at it to really show him my middle finger. And needless to say, though, he was not amused in the slightest, so I threw some legendary Carnos at it, hoping they could get some bleed off of it or something, but sadly, they couldn't even reach his pinky toes. This boss ain't one to be trifled with, and considering I have very few dinos at my disposal that can even tickle this thing, I decided to find a ledge from where my explosions can barely reach it and damage the boss while it's stuck on some rocks. And yes, this does take very long, and also yes, this is cheesing it, but it must die, and if a bot is gonna kill me in 0.2 seconds without knowing what happened, I might as well do this. This was a battle of attrition and pure stubbornness, and by the looks of this footage, I had that in spades. This took us all the way into the night. It didn't move an inch, and neither did I.
Final volley, bitch. You. You and your mama. You. Die. That's what I fucking thought. Perish, you heathen. I'm so done with you. Fitting that your animation is still active. You know what? Let me walk up to you and personally whack you in the shins. There you go. You.
This final piece to the puzzle allowed me to craft, on day 90, the summoner for Draconis, the origin upper boss, and I knew just the spot where to cheese it. I mean, fight it in honest hand-to-hand combat. This lava cavern will be just great for my needs. Things were going well at the start. I was just raining down a barrage of holy justice from above, and it had no say in the matter until it popped an invincibility shield, so I guess he does. And that cannot be removed unless you kill all of his minions, which I had a hard time finding. That there was the least of my concerns, though, as he was slowly but surely anti-cheesing the situation, making his way up to me.
Oh no. Oh no. It's broken out. It's on the loose. Oh. The shield is gone. Wait a minute, that's actually good. Okay, that raptor is 200 meters under the floor, but I guess he's not from you. Okay, it's not your child. I can respect that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, the damage. Oh, I'm dead. Okay, I had a mythic potion active and it just killed me. Oh, I forgot. This whole time, demonics have a berserk mode. Oh, let's go. I can't see how much damage we're doing at this point because I don't even have a spyglass. And we're dead. We are absolutely 100% dead. That is... We're dead. We're toast. How the f*** are we alive? You know what? I can't tell what is my fire and what is his fire, but at this point, anything goes. I just want to get him away from the corpse of Halo because I want that saddle back. That's my priority right now, actually. That took a lot of work to make. Come here, big boy. Come on. There you are, big mama. All right, we tickled it in the meantime. Oh, we go fast when we go into berserk mode. That's not bad. Now we can actually see the damage we're doing, and we got our meds back. We might be buck naked, but that's the least of our concerns right about now. That's right. Hug the ledge. You know, he does look cool. I'll give him that. He does look really cool. I'm not going to sit here and not admire the drip. Oh, you have learned. You have learned, have you? Oh, I don't think so. The thing is, he's slow as well. Like, he ain't sh**. So slow. I'm doing laps around you, boy. Laps. Whole laps. That meteor shower right there, that's 3 business days away from where I was.
Admittedly, my persistence wasn't going to pay off though, as melting that HP was going to take forever. So I decided to make a pit stop back home to get my armor repaired, and with that, get a small squad of demonics and angelics to speed up this killing process.
Alright, so this was some very improvised prep that I did not expect. But here's the lowdown as I'm doing the final touches. We have a little squadron. And notice, I saddled all of them once and activated their berserk mode, so they should be dealing more damage. They're mate boosted. Not all of them have saddles, but we don't have time. And the angelics have bubble shields, like so. And that should help us tank quite a bit more. So with this little squadron, to battle! Follow me, my children! To battle! Fight him! Fight him! Go get him! I am using my bubble shield to the best of my... I'm dead. What the f... I have my bubble shield on. What do you want me to do? It's bullshit. They're all wiped out. In the blink of an eye. Through bubble shields. Through ascended saddles. Through nightmare potions. What do you want me to do?
I ain't gonna lie, my brain was absolutely fried at this point. I didn't really know what to do, but again, angelics did seem to be dealing more damage than demonics, so I just kept throwing as many theories at this wall as it was gonna take. Man, I was just killing its minions straight into day 91 in order to get rid of its invincibility shield that kept popping up at certain health intervals, and I did disconnect and with that died just as Draconis fell. I was worried that I might not have gotten its drops, but thankfully I got them, and not only that, 2 origin boss souls and a summon for a tameable version of this dude. Beaten and bruised, I was desperately just trying to come up with a plan on what to do next, and what I was about to do was either really smart or really stupid. Only time would tell. You see, I got quite a few origin tokens from Draconis' minions, and as much as I don't want to, fighting Zephyros would be beneficial, so I gathered some artifacts to complete this summoning scroll. This meant that the next morning, I made a quick lap for some prep work for some later fights. I killed some Mr. Artifactos and then tamed a pair of demonic Shinehorns in rapid succession. I now have a breeding pair from which I hope to get offsprings with 39 health and 52 melee. This run is nuts stat-wise. I'll need these for my upcoming fight with the Nightmare Reaper, you know. So, while they're cooking a lamb chop in the oven, I spent an exuberant amount of time killing my second Zephyros, and I'm thankful, though, to see that this one had hundreds of millions of health points less than the first one. So, it died in no time flat, really. It was actually really fast. And as I got home, an adolescent Shinehorn with the right stats of health and melee was already growing up. And to explain why I'm using Shine Horns against the Reaper and not Glowtails is because I happen to have already gotten a few Ascended saddles for them from the loot bosses, and after prepping for a little bit, I already dubbed her Skips, Bringer of Arson. This is one mighty little lamb, and the new Angelic Fairy that I've been using was also dubbed the Ascended. And so now with these beasts at the ready, and after a lot of finagling around, I was able to finally craft the summoning scroll for the Spirit Guardian. If I beat this thing, I then technically unlock the ability to craft Spirit Kibble from what I read from this mod. So filled with excitement and dread on day 93, it was finally time to summon and face this behemoth.
Well, everybody, it is time to summon in a whole new bracket of bosses, and I don't know how to feel about this in the slightest, because let's be real, all the other bosses have been quite difficult, and this is probably going to be worse. I'm summoning it here, close to where we were cheesing Zaphiros. Oh, hey, what's up, my volcanic babies? How you doing? We're going to summon it over here in case I have to cheese it after. I hope the Ascended doesn't die. We've gone through way too many generations of angelic fairies. But without any further ado, let's rip it. I'm going to try and make a little bit of this gap here between us, some distance. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? It's fucking Godzilla! It has... Wait. It's only 350 million health? Okay. Uh-oh. That's not good. Oh, the damage is rough, though. Holy hell, look at it. Oh, we're gonna die here. I can tell we're going to die. But we're doing good damage, and I'm dead. Okay. That happened. Honestly, out of all the times that I got mad from dying to some random bullshit, I'm not mad about this one because I see we have a fighting chance. All right. We got our digitizer, our spare little griffin to go pick up our stuff. All right, this is gonna be a little bit of a doozy to get my stuff back. Oh, I got my saddle back and my potions. We're off to a good start. Off to a good start. Oh, it's coming for me. Boom. All right, got my stuff. Got my stuff. We're good. We're good. We're good. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Not too bad. It's a significant dent. Let's level him up, and we're gonna fight him naked. We're doing it live. F it. Come here. Run! 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 Oh, he is much larger. He is much larger than Zaphiros. Holy hell, he's much larger. I think I can cheese him though. Hold on. Oh, I think we got him. I think we got him in the perfect spot. If he actually just moves his pinky toe, he could reach us. And if that happens, I'm going to be even more scared than... Oh! Oh, sh... Oh, 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 we're dead. We are so dead. We are so dead. I might as well just try and fight him for the last stretch here. Yeah, we're dead. Out of potions. Oh, we're dead. We are so dead. Okay, just pop him. Jump down. Maybe the balls will get me. Oh, he's gonna die. Hold on. He's dead. Oh, we killed him. Okay, we killed him. I don't think he drops anything in particular, but this was for the sole reason that now technically I have the ability to craft spirit kibble.
With that out of the way, I was speed running my preparations to go tame some stuff. I made 3 pieces of spirit kibble, and with them in my pocket, raced across Ragnarok to find a spirit tame. And the only decent one in existence at this point in time was this here Jerboa, but I'm happy with it. I like their attack patterns. It's a forward-facing blast, but racking up the torpor on these things took a sweet minute, let's just put it at that. And after luring an angelic fairy away, I got to feed it and claim it. It came out with 44 points of melee. Not bad at all considering all the other junk that's on the map. So once I returned home with it, I set about preparing a saddle. And I don't know if this is a glitch or not, but it actually only required vanilla resources, so it was actually crafted quite easily. Either way, at dusk, I gave it a bunch of levels for it to reach 7.5 million health and 600% melee damage, and such a powerful creature, to beat them all, shall be called Michael. So under a thunderstorm on day 94, together we went to fight our first primal resurrected dino, for we need its bones.
Okay, Michael. This is your first ever fight. No pressure. We've never faced a primal resurrected before. It's got 162 million health, so... how do we do this? Right click? Okay, there you go. Raging balls of holiness. Let me just drink a potion in case it does reach me, but we're melting it. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, bada bing. Look at that juiciness right there. 162 million health evaporated into nothingness within a matter of, like, what, 4 seconds? Michael's the G. Look at him, he's such a good boy. I love him.
As you can see, it dropped its calcium quite easily. It dropped us actually 132 bones, which are needed to summon nightmare dinos. So I went to kill some more of these resurrecteds. This was all done very carefully though, as they do deal quite a lot of damage if they nibble on you. Traversing is also relatively easy here with my new friend Michael, as he has quite the leap. And once I had my fill of calcium later on, I just started to kill off some wild nightmares, as I'm in need of their tokens for the final boss, and this will spare me having to craft some summoning scrolls.
That's weird. Notice how huge I am now. Did you see that? I was basically the size of his foot. Uh-oh. And now I'm huge. My body is enormous. I've become a giant. I'm not gonna complain. Down there is our first nightmare that we're going to kill. I have no idea what their abilities are, if I'm gonna get debuffed, if it kills me off of my mount. So once my potion is reset, we're gonna blast them. And with a few more XP potions while we wait. There it is, 700% melee. Not bad at all. Not bad at all, Michael. Well, here goes nothing. I'm hoping that log helps me. But here we go. Start blasting. Drink my nightmare potion. So I don't know what he does. At all. Everything within a 15-kilometer radius is dead. So are my eardrums. But its health is dwindling rather nicely. So that's good. We're just gonna let him cook there for a while. We're gonna let him cook. Yeah, he doesn't even know what to do. Not once in its lifetime has it seen this level of bullshit. Honestly, that log is the MVP. It really is. It's just holding him in place. He doesn't really get that close. He's not super fast. Plus, the thing is, Michael has an insane jump, so we can just get out of dodge real quick. Look at that. I didn't even have to drink a potion towards the end because I knew he was going to die. There you have it. Our first nightmare token of the diabetic. We have a max XP potion? Holy shit. Drink that, Michael. Holy shit, another 31 levels. Let's go. Okay, hold on a minute. Let's see if we can get him to 100. Wait, like 10 million health? 100 would be a little bit ridiculous. Hold on. There you go. 10 million health. Very nice. And then the rest all into melee. Basically 850. That's my achievement to get a dino to max level on Steam. God.
Towards the rest of the afternoon, I was just killing all other nightmare dinos that I could come across. This lasted well into day 95, but I was happy that I found a stuck nightmare wyvern that I really hoped that I could kill as is, but just as I was preparing to fight it, apparently it broke free and took me into an early grave. Ignoring that bump in the road, I just kept at it into sunrise, which got me a total of 4 tokens at this time. Considering though that I killed most of the wild nightmare creatures that existed on the map, I had to go on a blood grind to go make some summoning scrolls, and I did this atop of Skips, who was quite happy to be taken out on a test run. I even got to use a max XP potion on him to make him uber powerful, and in short amount of time, I was able to craft all the remaining summoners that I would need. In further preparation for the remainder of the evening, I was just restocking my nightmare potion supplies as I was slowly running low, and sadly, I was very unlucky in this endeavor and didn't get any all night long for some reason. Day 96 started off with the summoning of all the nightmare dinos that I could. I was just doing my best to not get hit so as to not waste any health potions when at all possible, because, you know, if you couldn't tell already, they do hurt like hell. I killed all the nightmares until the Dodo Reaper and Wyvern were left, and for the former, I brought out Skips.
Alrighty, Skips. Oh, look at you. Are you ready to cause some flames and destruction? Just a wee bit of arson, are ya? Okay, dokie. Well, we got all the potions. The saddle is absolutely nuts, almost 500 armor. We're gonna do the Dodo Reaper with a summon. The Wyvern, there's a couple in the wild, so we're gonna do the wild Wyverns. But for now, we're gonna see if Skips can solo a nightmare. And the reason we have Skips is because we can use the light. That one right there. There, now they shine, and now they're shining. And now, before it runs out, we're gonna bring out the Nightmare Dodo Reaper, and this should have it take a lot more damage, and I can't see a goddamn thing. I have no idea what's going on. Okay, well, it's in front of me. I'm just gonna cause explosions and pray for the best. I'm gonna go into demon mode. I can't even see anything. It's burning. Burning quite nicely, I believe. I would like to think that at least, because my screen is just white. It does hurt. It nipped me. Ooh. Whoa. Oh, okay. Interesting. Whatever that was. Oh, I just popped the nightmare potion in time. Oh my goodness, that was close. It was basically out. I can't see anything. If I run fast enough, I outrun the speed of light. I'm just gonna cause as many explosions as I can and then book it. All right, I gotta run. It's right there. It is huge. Well. Oh, it's still here. Oh. Skips. Book it, girl. Book it. It's coming. Evidently, this is not going as well as I had hoped for, but we're still going to keep Skips around. Thing is, I can't see anything. Well, I think we don't have the Dodo Reaper on us anymore. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hop off. I'm going to take all of the potions away from you, and you will literally become a sacrificial lamb. Come here, Michael. Okay, Michael's ready to go. Somewhere here in this raging ball of light is our child. I hear you. Follow the sound of my voice. Oh, there you are. Cool. I'm going to give you a singular health potion. Only one, because that's what singular means. And what we're going to do is we're going to send you into battle in hopes that the damage reduction that you apply helps in our current dire straits. So what I'm going to do is pop that, hop on you. Let's go, 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 go. You're following me? Nice. And it's healed. Okay. Go fight it, Skips. Go fight it. Go, Skips, go. Yeah, it's on him. Yeah, it's using its fire as well. Let's go. Go, Skips. Do me proud. Oh, yeah, now we're melting him. Now we're cooking him. Let's go to drink a potion for good measure because I can't see anything. Skips is doing its part. The potion's probably still keeping it alive, honestly, and the saddle. Burn in hell, you bitch. Done. Oh, yeah. Honestly, that Reaper is the one I was worried the most for, and honestly, this combo was the way to go. Skips is the freaking MVP of this fight, honestly. I'm so proud of you. Took a little victory there, I think.
Now, the only nightmare creature that remained was the Wyvern, the one that killed me very recently, so I was very nervous to face it again, but I charged up Skips, and together with Michael, we charged into battle, which was a very, very long endeavor.
Nice, Skips is tanking. Skips is tanking. Let's go, Skips. Oh, Skips is still living. Oh, I almost died. Oh, I had to pop that nightmare potion. Skips! Live, Skips, live! Tank for me, buddy! Come on, Skips! Skips has been tanking like a champ. Here it comes for its final round. There we go. Woo, that was a dance and a half. I don't think that would have been that easy if it weren't for Skips tanking like crazy. It's still half health too. Look at you, baby girl. I'm so proud.
The nighttime hours were then just spent gathering souls for the final boss. This dragged me into day 97, and that let me craft at about mid-morning the Death Knight Summoning Scroll, the final challenge, but we still have some time to make all other preparations that my mind can come up with, so I started to get resources to repair my precious Sandman. Sadly, all of my footage to repair said Sandman got corrupted and just went kablooey, so after that, and thanks to all the grinding that I did, I also had enough primal bullets and was able to knock out a female spirit jerboa, and I did get to tame it, and purely for science, I tried to get these two here to breed. I didn't know if it was possible, but I was curious, and to my surprise, it was actually possible. I'm in complete shock that this actually worked, so I guess we're gonna get an imprinted offspring. I accompanied this couple into labor on day 98, but sadly, it seemed like it would take a good while until we'd get a perfect specimen. So while we wait, I got a few more things going, like for example, preparing a max level angelic theory with all points dumped into health, and was dubbed Aegis. And this tank is rocking nearly 23 million health. I then went ahead with a bit more of a dicey task, which was to tame my own Draconis from the summoner that we looted, and to tame it, you need to damage it below 20% to apply any type of torpor, and I'd be doing this with our recently acquired baby spirit jerboa. He's absolutely garbage, but he'll do the job, considering he's imprinted, and that max potion clears up any issues. He spawned in with excellent melee actually, but I need more origin artifacts to land the tame it seems. So I returned back to base to make them and just rushed on back to engage with this wacky tame. I tried to not go overkill on it with a holy blast, but not even nightmare potions were able to withstand this T-Rex's damage. It's just explosive meteors all around. So once I recouped my belongings, I just went at it with Aegis, considering it wasn't focused on dealing damage as much. It was a very tricky procedure though, to not kill it completely while simultaneously not trying to die myself. But thankfully, its tankiness was coming in clutch to just kind of tickle its shins to a good HP point. I whittled it down all the way into day 99, but it became increasingly clear that Aegis might have to become a sacrifice as we became fused with the beast, as its mesh is kind of huge. This is though when I remembered its arch nemesis, ledges. This allowed me to get enough time to drop on down, skedaddle away, and hop onto Fibbles, and from it, blast it with tranks from the sky safely. This was quite the daunting task though, as it had 8 times more torpor than our spirit jerboas, our hardest tame to knock out thus far. And while I take my sweet time to lay it down for a well-deserved nap, I want to thank all of our lovely patrons and YouTube channel members for supporting the channel. Your support every month comes in so clutch. If you're interested in supporting, all links that you need are down below. What we offer is exclusive servers in our community Discord, along with access to gaming servers on a variety of games, plus your name immortalized as you see right here on our incredibly long and goofy videos. And with that said, thank you so much. Now to Big, Tall, and Ugly over here. By utilizing all of my ammunition that I could use for the Sandman, I got it to 6 million torpor by the afternoon, but I need to go home to restock. But what I gathered up here was also a compound bow and primal metal trank arrows that we gathered up through the entire adventure. These were flung at our adversary, and they dealt a hefty amount of torpor, which is really nice, and basically by midnight, it dropped down to the floor. I fed it its favorite food, and presto, everyone, meet Bombardier. He has a whopping 54 points of melee and 10 million health. I sadly don't have a saddle for him, hence why I gave him a ton of health with the max potion that I fed him, in hopes he survives the upcoming slaughter. And here we are! Day 100, the grand finale! And on this day, I was just out searching for the perfect arena for our final showdown, and I felt like the volcano biome would be fitting for such an occasion. And so, I began to pop out all of the participants and level them up nicely.
All right. Okay. Setup is complete. It was a little bit of a doozy, but here we are. We have Aegis with 45 million health with a bubble shield to absorb damage. Ready and waiting where we're going to spawn the boss in. We have Skips, Bringer of Arson with its Ascended Saddle. And I got it a partner who I also maxed out and gave an Ascended Saddle. Not as good as Skips, because Skips deserves the best, as we know. But they're mate boosted, and they're demonics, and they're powered up as well. Then I maxed out Scorpia. No saddle, so I don't expect it to live for long, but it's more demonic burn. Because again, we have demonic burn, we have angelic burn. Then over here, we have Pyros, who I maxed out. So we have elemental burn. On top of that, we have Bombardier. I don't know what kind of burn he does. He kind of does all of them, but he's there. No saddle, but 35 million health, so I hope he lives at least a little bit. Then over here, we have Raikage. He's just kind of there for the show. Then, last but not least, we have Seraphim, a spirit Jerboa, imprinted and saddled and hitched to not move, as it's a female to mate boost the male here. It's purely meant to give the mate boost and live, because I can't give it potions while riding. As for this fellow over here, this is the prime specimen. The one we've been waiting for, the chosen one. And I'm going to name him Gabriel. And together we're going to beat this boss once and for all. So without any further ado, before the day gets over, let's spawn it in. Here we go. It's all come down to this point. I have no idea if this is actually going to work. I very much likely could fail here. So let's do this. The Death Knight. Here he comes. Let's get close to Seraphim for the mate boost. There he is. 900 million health. He has a timer on him. And he summons minions. F***ing perfect. Oh my gosh. I'm dead. I'm dead. What was that? I'm dead. I just see numbers. Okay, let's try that again. All right, we got a spare Jerboa. We're just gonna go. We have a fleet of fairy griffins to take us. We're just gonna prep this one and go. We don't want our army to die here. All right, nice and easy. I can hear Raikage's thunder in the distance, so he's doing something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing his very best. And right now, I gotta see if I can just like whistle my tames to attack it and lure it away, maybe. There he is. Okay, they're fighting him, I think. Yeah, okay. There's something going on. A whole lot of stuff. There's another dead Jerboa. Got some holy fire went off, so A for effort, I suppose. Oh crap, the Argies. It summons the nightmare Argies and they're after me. Yeah, look at that. That's speed, man. And he has a time limit too. Bombardier, fight him, Bombardier. He's going in for the kill. Come on, guy, come on. Nice, there's the meteor shower, Bombardier. Let's go, buddy. Holy crap, that's a whole nightmare Dodo. Okay. I think he's dead. I think Bombardier is dead. Oh, okay. Everything that I had throughout the entire run is gone. So there's only one thing that remains, and that is to just kind of throw shit at it and see what happens. I'm gonna try and get my stuff back, which I doubt is going to work, because all of the spawns are gonna be on my booty cheeks in a matter of 2.0 seconds. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, I got my potions. I got my stuff. I can't believe I actually got my stuff. Got webbed by a fucking Uranale. Okay. He's just chilling. We actually got him down quite a bit. I'm actually kind of surprised. Okay, hold on just a minute. Hold on just a minute. This is our new boy. Or gal. All right. I've had enough out of this dude, to be honest. I'm buck naked. I return as I was, I suppose. And without any further ado, because he's healing really quick, let's just start blasting him, I guess. I'm gonna blast him and I'm gonna dip. If I could. I got pulled, I believe. I don't know exactly what happened, but I got pulled and I'm dead. Okay. Round 3. Very fitting how the world is rendered asunder by the volcano. We're fighting the final Death Knight. Fabulous thematics. A little bit dramatic, but I approve. Well, with very little options remaining, here goes nothing. Just send in a little bit of a squad and pray. That one. Guys, I want you to go fight that one. And I'm getting pulled. Okay, what ability is that, dude? I don't have potions, man. I can't. Oh, frig. Oh my gosh, it's already max health. All right, peeps. Yeah, he has a pull. He absolutely has a pull. Fight him, please. Fight him, please. Fight him. Please. Please fight him, my minions. Oh, the pull, the gravitational pull it has is ridiculous. Yeah, oh man, it's my arch nemesis. It prevents the cheese, and there's the swords. Oh, I was basically dead. Holy shit, I was basically dead. Okay, I see him. Oh man, I'm just trying to jump to avoid damage, but there's no way in hell I'm killing this dude. There's no way in hell I can beat him. He's in my holy fire. He's pulling me back. Okay, fine. Take this then, you beat. Take this. Hey, you like them apples, huh? You want to chase me? Well, you're doing a really good job. Oh, there's the swords. I'm dead. I'm alive? What? Okay, no, never mind. Oh my god. That is ridiculous. Man, that's some crazy work. All right, that's freaking ridiculous. But in honor of the run, I'm going to give it one last go. It's going to take us a little bit into the next morning, but we're going to give it one final shot. In the heat of battle, I've completely lost track where all my items are, and that is an RG. It's flying at Mach speeds, chasing my booty cheeks, surely. Yep, there you go. But this is it. The final showdown. No levels, no potions. Just, I would like to say honor, but it's just stubbornness at this point. So here we go. Let's roll with it. Well, here goes freaking nothing. Absolutely unscathed. Oh, we hit him. We hit him. And I'm getting obliterated somehow. I'm taking damage by something. Here's the thing. I'm going to try and whittle him out by phasing in and out of render for him in hopes that his pull can't grab me. That is the only way that I can actually see myself having a chance. Just kind of teasing him on the edge there. Fuck you! You bitch! Oh, I've fallen. My plan. I'm taking knockback damage from my own roars. Uh-oh. This is not good. I'm in a river. He's in the river. Ah, he's pulled me. That's that. Oh, that's that. I don't think we live this. Oh, no. No. Two hits by one of its minions. That's crazy. Well, my lovelies, this is one of them moments. This is one of them mods, man. You know what? I ain't gonna die on this hill and be like, I gotta win everything that I attempt to do. I evidently have been bested by this mod pack. Better said by the Death Knight. Let's not give the full credit to the whole mod. I was doing pretty freaking good, if I do say so myself. But that about does it. There's no way in hell I am beating that Death Knight as is. So with all that being said, my lovelies, thank you so very much for watching, and I hope to be seeing you very soon in our next adventure. So until next time, take care and bye-bye.